That's right. That's right. Y'all know what that sound means. That means that we are back in the building. JV Wins Dogon SS. We are here for another edition of the Conscious Approach channel on YouTube. Much appreciation to everybody out there who's been showing their support, hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, leaving those comments, letting us know what you think about the commentary and all of our content as we continue to kick this logical content. Before we get things started, as always, I want to preface by saying check us out on Spotify, check us out on Amazon Music, and check us out on Apple Podcasts. We are now available in all of those places where you get your podcasts. So if you are not in position to check us out on YouTube, if you are not in position to get the video version of what we like to do here, check us out audio style. Hit us up, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music. We are there live and in effect. So just trying to be any and everywhere possible for everybody who likes to be able to engage with the content. Also, check out the website, consciousapproach.com, and check out the Instagram page at Conapproach, CONAPPROACH. TikTok page is on the way. I know I keep saying that, but I'm a man of my word. It will happen eventually. Trust me. Trust me. So yeah, man, major shouts out to everybody who has been supporting us along the way. And if this is your first time checking us out and you have not already done so, man, hit that subscribe button, like this video. We certainly appreciate it if you are so inclined, and leave us a comment, man. Let us know what you think we went right or wrong with any of our talking points in any of our videos. We don't need you to agree with us. We just like it for you to be constructive. That's the only requirement. Be constructive when you are calling me a moron. Don't just say I'm a moron. Tell me why I'm a moron. But with that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and get things kicked off. First thing that we are going to discuss today is an interesting video that went viral concerning NBA star Anthony Edwards. So for anyone who has not seen this, there was a video that went viral on social media of a mother telling her son that she will not buy him a pair of Anthony Edwards sneakers because he does not take care of his daughters. She's very adamant that, her son should pick a pair of Kobe shoes instead, or a pair of Steph Curry shoes, because those guys take care of their kids. They take care of their daughters. They set better examples. So she'll buy her son a pair of those guys' shoes, but Anthony Edwards is out of the question because he does not take care of his kids. Somewhat to come to his defense, a woman who shares a child with Anthony Edwards spoke out in response to that, saying that the mother is blowing things out of proportion and that Anthony Edwards isn't the deadbeat that the mother in the video proclaims him to be. But more or less, this is just about the mother making that initial video in the first place, basically saying, hey, listen, son, we cool on this side with several pairs of shoes, but when it comes to Anthony Edwards, we ain't rocking like that because he's a deadbeat, essentially, is what she said. So I think my link here is frozen, my tab. So let me back out and then reopen it and share it again with internet stuff. So we all know that happens sometimes, folks.
You know how it go.
Yeah. So let me get rid of that ugly ad. All right. Okay. So this says Aisha Howard has shocking response to mom refusing to buy son Anthony Edwards shoes. Recently, one mother went viral for refusing to buy her son a pair of Anthony Edwards sneakers. The mother told the boy to put them back because he don't take care of his kids, indicating that she doesn't approve of the athlete's personal life. Ja Morant takes care of his daughter. Kobe Bryant, he's a great dad, even in the afterlife, she added. As the video continues to make its rounds online, one of the mothers of Edwards' children, Aisha Howard, has weighed in. Shockingly, she came to his defense. I'm not sure if this child knows of Anthony's personal issues, and if he doesn't, I think it's unfair to take away the part of Anthony that he does more, which is obviously his basketball talent, she told the Shade Room. Anthony is a great player, but the mother is in control of what she supports from a moral woman standpoint. So I guess what Howard is saying is, if the kid knows no better, don't take his enjoyment of Anthony Edwards as a basketball player away from him by denying him the shoes, I guess is what she was trying to say there. Howard's remarks arrived just a few days after she took her Instagram story to expose Edwards for allegedly pursuing her for years. I don't normally out my DMs, but listen, please stop the trapped in the one night stand narrative. This man started pursuing me back in 2022 and literally did not stop pursuing me until he got me and Aubrey, she wrote. He did all of the choosing. Her post featured a screenshot of a DM in which Edwards asked her where you at. So I believe there's a video here. So yeah, here is the video in question of the mother not wanting to buy her son a pair of Anthony Edwards sneakers because he, quote, doesn't take care of his kids.
Yeah, put them back because he don't take care of his kids. Makes sense, right? Get somebody else like John Morant. He take care of his daughter. Kobe Bryant. Move, Jelani. John Morant, yeah. Kobe Bryant. He's a great dad, even after life.
All right, so there you go. So that's pretty much what went viral. And this Aisha Howard woman who has one of Edward's kids basically defending him, saying if the kid knows no better, why take that away from him? Now, I don't know about you, bro, but I think the production of that video seemed a little staged to me. But I'll go ahead and let you give your thoughts on what you think about this video that made its rounds on the interwebs.
Hey man, you started with a tinfoil hat yourself, bro. I like it. Yeah, man. That kid was definitely acting like he was in the Tyler Perry movie. So, you know what I'm saying? It was a bit of a put on there, but mama wanted to convey a message. She was like, "Hey, this probably really happened," but she was like, "Let's get this for the gram." Let's get this for the gram because I'm pretty sure he wanted Edward shoes, man.
Yeah.
So here's the thing with all of this. First of all, let me start off with this baby mama, who, as the article mentioned, was railing on this guy not too long ago, just last month.
Yeah.
Taking him to town, talking about how he's trash, how he ain't this, how he ain't that, how he wanted to unalive the baby when
Right.
it was in its blastocyst stage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now all of a sudden she wants to come to defense. But I understand why. Because that purchase or lack thereof is affecting her bottom line. And so she sees that money in the long run. You know what I'm saying? So by people not wanting to partake or purchase any of his gear, memorabilia, or merch, that affects her trip to Barbados or Belize. So she definitely was like, "Hey, y'all need to calm down." But it's like, why weren't you thinking like that when you wanted to air them out last month? Unless that was for clout,
right?
So this lady here, of course, what else do you expect from a BBL model? You know what I'm saying? The contradictions galore. No ground to stand on, no honor. It's just what's the latest check. So of course she would say that and come to the defense in that regard. It's not like she really cares about this kid's the kid looks up to or any of that stuff. She's concerned about her money. Now, when it comes to the mama not wanting to do that and setting the precedent and setting the standard in the household, I don't have a problem with that either. Now, typically, you wouldn't. That's not something that you would hear, as far as a parenting thing. But we need parents to do more standing on business when it comes to having a moral standard in the house. So if there is a situation where it's like, hey, we're not going to support X, Y, or Z because of, ABC, I'm all about that. Whether I agree with it or not, it's still a standard being set. That's better than, willy-nilly and, anything goes. So that I do commend that. So I do think that's I think that's awesome. So hopefully she maintains the same energy across the board. Hopefully this kid isn't watching any salacious television, any outrageous social media posts, or any deplorable and degrading music. So if this is going on across the board where mom's like, no, we can't listen to that guy. Why? Because he's talking about selling drugs. He's talking about unaliving people in this community. We don't do that. And it's like, okay, well, then this lady here is just, she's doing a great job parenting. So hopefully the energy is maintained. Hopefully this wasn't just for the clout. Hopefully this isn't her clap back at her baby daddy. Hopefully this was something that she's actually trying to build something and build a standard. And her posting it online wasn't for clout. It was to show other parents on how to parent. But what are your thoughts, sir, on Anthony Edwards getting ousted by that mother, not allowing her son to get those shoes, and Anthony, Edwards' baby mama having something to say about it? What are your thoughts about all of it?
Yeah, I think the baby mama is trying to save face so that she can be in the best possible child support position that she can be.
Yeah.
So it's whatever. It's whatever with these slores of the evening who essentially are for sale to the highest bidder. They, as far as I'm concerned, have no credibility whatsoever and ought not to ever be listened to. If you truly cared about the well-being of children, in terms of the influence that a parental figure has over them, then as you said, you would not have gone on this diatribe publicly bashing the father of your child, because those are matters of public record. They'll live in infamy on the internet for forever. Exactly. So eventually your child is going to become old enough to see these things and is going to wonder why you were speaking that way about their father during this period in time. And good luck explaining why you chose to stick up for this mother here, but didn't choose to stick up for your own family unit while you were bashing him, publicly on social media. Because you're not going to be able to just tell your kid the truth, which is I wanted to make sure that those child support checks continue to come in abundance. And the best way for me to do that is to show that I am the fittest parent possible so that I can maintain sole custody and it's best for me to not jeopardize that by exhibiting unhinged behavior online. That's my opinion. That's why I think she chose to become more civil. Because as you put it, not too long ago, she was the complete opposite of civil towards this dude. So, where's the truth in that matter? You can make your own mind up when it comes to that. With respect to the mother who made the video, yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I don't have a problem with principled people. I said that before on this channel. I think the world will be a better place if people live with principles. I think, society is off balance largely because people are being sold on the idea rather effectively that living a life devoid of principles means that you're living your best life. So don't be all hung up or caught up or held back, held down by ridiculous things like morals and ethics and standards. Just let all that stuff go and YOLO, do whatever you want, because that's the kind of world that we envision ourselves living in, one in which everyone can do whatever they want and aren't necessarily being tethered by these unnecessarily stringent things like morals and standards and ethics. So I always will respect a person who lives a principled existence. And there's perhaps no category of human that should live a principled existence on this earth more than a parent. I think parents, more than anyone else, have a responsibility to be principled because you want to set the best possible example for your kid. In saying that, I don't have a problem with this, other than the fact that I feel as though this was a production. Like, I feel like she went into this with a plan. Now, I do think that the kid probably did want a pair of those shoes, but I think what likely happened is off camera, she was like, no, you're not getting those shoes, but let's make this video and explain why, So that's the only thing about it that's a little cringe to me, but I can get over that because I can respect where she's coming from. If she feels a certain type of way about men who are not as involved in the daily lives of their children as she believes they should be, and so she chooses not to monetarily support any individuals that she feels as though are an infraction upon those beliefs, I have no problem with that. Everybody is entitled to live in accordance with whatever principles or ethics are most important to them. But as you put it, I hope she's consistent across the board. And I really hope that when they're at home and she's telling her son, you cannot have Anthony Edwards shoes, that there isn't drill music playing in the background.
Yeah, exactly.
You're absolutely right on that. That we are 100% lock and step on that. I hope that when she's telling her kid, you can't have Anthony Edwards shoes, that she didn't have to pause on her DVR the episode of Power Raising Canaan that she's watching while she's telling her kid this. For real. Like I hope she isn't watching, I hope she doesn't let her kid, peruse the internet on TikTok looking at suggestive social media content. Be consistent across the board, because as far as I'm concerned, refusing to allow your kid to wear Anthony Edwards' sneakers is nothing if he can still listen to whatever music he wants, watch whatever TV shows he wants, and watch whatever movies he wants, and follow whatever Instagram slore online he wants.
Amen.
So I sincerely hope for her sake that she is consistent in that regard, because if you eliminate one form of mind control but allow all the other forms of mind control, you're really not doing much.
Hey man, I agree, bro. So we'll see what happens with Anthony Edwards and his baby mama, man, because this is an interesting situation now that she's coming to bat for this man. But and it's, in terms of this thing going viral, man, yeah, I saw a lot of people weighing in on it. You brought it to my attention. I didn't really know about this situation. But yeah, man, it seems like the internet is also agreeing, at least from what I saw, that the mom was, putting that boy up on principles and getting him in line. But yeah, man, there's so much stuff going on nowadays with the music, the TV shows, and everything in between, that there's tons of deadbeats out there. So yeah, just maintain the same energy. That's pretty much my message to anybody that's like, yeah, I'm gonna do that too. I'm gonna do that too. I ain't gonna buy anything else with shoes, because that's okay. Well, yeah, that's like you said, man. Ghost Book 11. Don't watch that. You know what I'm saying? Don't be watching that. Oh, that's my guilty pleasure. Or don't have the kids exposed to that stuff. If they listen to Lil Baby and I don't know who else they listen to, NBA Young Boys,
21 Savage,
21 and NLE Chopper.
Yeah.
Like you gotta listen to these crazy people online, man. So hopefully the energy's maintained. Yeah, man. I think we're on par with this one, man. Yeah, parenting is a difficult dynamic. You got to be all the way in on this thing.
Yeah.
And so you can't leave one stone unturned. So yeah, she had that one stone flipped over. That's great. Just flip over the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. And there really is no difference. Like, at least to me, I don't really see the difference between consuming suggestive content and paying, putting, or buying a pair of shoes from an athlete that you feel represents beliefs and morals and ethics that are opposed to your own. I don't really see the difference. Like, okay, yeah, you're not directly spending your money whenever you're streaming a show or watching that movie or listening to that music, but your metrics and your contribution to the algorithm ultimately the ultimate net effect of all of that activity and behavior is money going somewhere.
Mhm.
And it's money funding some kind of a machine and some kind of an operation, and it's money that does positively impact the bottom line of some individual. So if you're going to take it that far to where you don't want Anthony Edwards shoes on the foot of your kid because he's a deadbeat in your eyes, it's not really a far cry to say also you need to make sure that your son's not listening to suggestive music, because it's debatable. It's debatable how much streaming revenue does constitute to an artist's income when it comes to their music. We can debate that all day, but they are making something off that.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as I'm concerned, like I said, I really don't see a difference between allowing your kid or not to wear Anthony Edwards sneakers, but still allowing him unlimited access to a Spotify account where he can stream whatever music he wants 24/7. Like, to me, there's no difference. It's still funding the same, it's still creating an environment in which you can potentially expose your kid, particularly in a delicate mental developmental period,
Mm-hmm.
to particular forms of messaging that can lead him down a path that you might determine is less than desirable. Like, to
Right.
me, it's all the same thing. So
Exactly.
I'll say if one is not okay, then the rest of it is not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, your kid becomes an adult. Obviously, he can make his own decisions, but when he's under your care and he's your responsibility, if the shoes don't go, then the music also doesn't go, and the weird social media follows also don't go. All of it has to go, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I just hope that she's staying, her and others like her are staying consistent across the board, because it's like a terror cell, or that the Hydra monster. You cut off one head and two more grow in its place.
Mm-hmm.
So you can refuse your kid Anthony Edwards shoes if you so choose, but there's just going to be two other forms of mind control that grow in place of that. That's still going to steer him down a path that you might not want him to go. So people just need to keep that in mind. It's all the same. Stop thinking that just because it's entertainment or TV or music or movies that it doesn't have the same impact or doesn't symbolize the same thing. It does.
Yeah, man. And so, yeah, my thing wasn't so much and I hear your point about the bottom line, because they're still getting paid
Well,
somehow.
it's just the point of the reason why I bring that up is because I would imagine
Mm-hmm.
someone who wants to say that it's different would bring up the money. Well, I'm not, I'm not paying 50 Cent whenever I watch Power. Well, you kind of are, I'm not paying, I'm paying Anthony Edwards when I buy that shoe, but I'm not paying 50 Cent when I watch Power. It's more close to the same thing than you realize. So that's the only reason why I brought that up.
No, 100, and because I wasn't really thinking about that, but I hear that point. And but yeah, mine was more or less the influence. So yeah, she doesn't want her son to wear those shoes because the guys, she says that he's not taking care of his kids. But and my point was like the music or the suggestive stuff, as you mentioned, making him an irresponsible man later in life.
Yeah.
So it was like, hey, I thought I prevented you from buying those shoes. I thought you weren't going to be like this. How is this possible? And it's like, oh, well, you allowed everything else.
Yeah.
So, and everything else is what made Anthony Edwards the way he is. I'm sure Anthony Edwards isn't the way he is because he was wearing shoes from guys that were being irresponsible. I think it was because of all of this other things that was going on, either within his community or within the media he consumes. So, yeah, man. So I appreciate it. I'm not trying to bash her, but yeah, I just would like to see this uniform. So
yeah, facts.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, shouts out to Anthony Edwards, man. Heck of a basketball player, but yeah, he does seem a bit on the future. He seems to be a bit on the future timeline when it comes to women. So
get right, bro. Get well, man.
Yeah, good luck with that, bro, because you're gonna need every bit of that contract money.
Sheesh.
Next up, we are going to get into Amber Rose, who illuminated us on why Kanye West has a proclivity for his women being naked in public. Amber Rose many moons ago was with Kanye. She's an ex-girlfriend of Kanye. And if you are someone who believes that My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is one of Kanye's better bodies of work, then you can perhaps thank Amber Rose more than anyone else for that, because she was a big inspiration for a lot of the songs that were on that album. And she got out of that. They broke up, and she was on Shannon Sharpe's Club Shay Shay show, and they got onto the subject of Kanye and how he deals with women, and certain outfits that he makes them wear, and this, that, and the third. And she basically said, she got into Kanye's psychology. And she was basically like, he kind of likes it when, his women are desired and wanted by other men. And that has a lot to do with why he insists on his women dressing a certain kind of way. And if you are sort of keeping up, or if you have been keeping up with Kanye's history when it comes to his women, there is a track record for this. Definitely with his current, doll, this person that he says is his wife, but she looks more like a sex bot than anything else. So we'll get into it. This says Amber Rose shares why she believes Kanye West has Bianca Censori constantly naked in public. Model and television personality Amber Rose left it all out there in her recent interview with Shannon Sharpe on Club Shay Shay. The quote that perfectly sums up her talk with the former NFL superstar came during her revelation about Jocelyn Hernandez. I'm going to say this on your show, and I'm going to give the truth to the world and to the internet, okay? She was dishing everything out about her irreparable relationship with her, but also about her ex-boyfriend, Kanye West. He came up during her and Sharpe's sit down a handful of times, including why she believes he is so erratic. But another topic that arose was her theory as to why Ye parades around everyone he's been with. Amber Rose began by alleging that Kanye for sure monitors his partner's fashion choices, especially when it came to Kim Kardashian herself and now wife Bianca Censori. The reason? He allegedly loves other men falling over his woman. He wants other men to want his woman. That's what he's into. He likes that men are drooling over his woman. He wants all his friends to want his girlfriend. He wants everybody when you walk in a room that his girlfriend or wife is the most desirable. She's the baddest bee in the room. While sharing that is one thing, having the supposed facts to back up that claim is another. According to Amber Rose, she has proof detailing a distressing moment when she was with West. So we're going to go back up here and we're going to play this clip from that interview, which I do believe we should be good on this. But for the sake of being on the safe side, I'll just go ahead and play the clip and then scroll the screen up so that we'll hear the audio.
Kanye's for sure dressing her like that. Yeah, he did the same thing to me and Kim.
What is it about that he wants the world to know? Look at my woman. We can see
he wants other men to want his woman. That's what he's into. He likes that. He likes that men are like drooling over his woman. That's what he's into.
I mean, I like to think anybody that I'm with, that somebody wants her. Mm-hmm. If hell, don't nobody want her but me, I need to reassess I need to reassess what I'm doing.
Right.
But to really man, I want.
Yeah, he wants all his friends to want his girlfriend. He wants everybody that when you walk in a room, that his girlfriend or wife is the most desirable in the room.
She the baddest bee in the room.
That's what he likes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you dress like that because that's what he wanted. You want to please your man.
I was young, and I'm going to tell Kanye no. Like when I'm that young, it's like, okay, you're buying me this stuff.
Right.
I do look pretty and cool, but Shannon, now if you look at old pictures of me when I'm dating Kanye, mm-hmm. but I'm out by myself, mm-hmm. I have all his clothes on.
Yeah.
I have baggy jeans on, mm-hmm. t-shirt, big ass jacket. I raided his closet. Mm-hmm. When he wasn't home, I would wear all his stuff because I used to hate to dress like a whore. Basically. I hate it. Yeah, rebel when he wasn't home. I would go in his closet.
So let me ask you this. Ideally, how does Amber Rose like to dress? Is the occasion appropriate? So if I'm going to the Grammys or I'm going to someplace else, I'm going to dress appropriate. But when I'm just hanging out with my girls, I'm saying you're not wearing all that stuff.
No, I'm in sweatpants.
Okay.
And I'm in a sweatsuit, usually with some Jordans on.
Okay.
Maybe a little dad hat or something. Mm-hmm. I'm very casual.
Would you? I mean, I don't think you did. I mean, I think you did have one of those see-through dresses that Kanye put his wife in at one point in time.
Yes, I did.
Amber.
I cried.
Really?
Yes, I did. I remember crying. I was in like Italy or Paris or something. And I remember crying and arguing with him and being like, I don't want to wear this. I don't want to wear it. You don't understand. It's fashion. I'm a genius. You know, he is. And it's like, okay, I still don't want to wear it, but I wind up wearing it. They ate me up on the internet.
They ate you up.
They ate me up. And then I'm like,
the guys would try to eat you up too. The guys loved it. The guys loved it.
I was like, oh my God, I really just don't.
Was that something as you look back, that was many, many years ago.
It was.
If that was something you do again, you'd never do anything like that again.
Do what?
Wear something like that.
No.
But that was because that was prior kids.
It was prior.
So you got kids now. So you guys are like, nah, I got boys now. I can't do that.
Yeah. So I'm actually on OnlyFans, right?
Okay.
And so I know OnlyFans has like this stigma of like porn and
right.
I am on OnlyFans. I'm doing cute pictures, selfies. I'm talking to my fans. Right. Hey, what are you doing today? Oh, I'm going on Club Shay Shay today. Make sure you tune in next week. Blah blah. Right. That's my OnlyFans. I make a lot of money on OnlyFans.
Feet pics.
No, I don't do feet pics.
You don't do no feet?
No, I mean, everybody got their price.
Yeah.
Somebody asks for a feet pic. It depends on what they want to pay me out. Send my fee. Who cares? But yes, because I have children, there's certain things that I just will not do because I respect and love my boys.
Now, I don't understand the economy of OnlyFans, nor will I ever understand it because I will never be a part of it. But who the hell is spending money to just look at cute pics of Amber Rose and to just be a part of her community? I don't get it. I don't understand why there are people who spend their money on this stuff. I don't understand it, and I never will. I don't get it. But the article goes on to say, folks who caught wind of this clip of the interview have been dragging Rose, especially due to her past pro-feminist ways and slut walks. But if this is true, you cannot discredit her accounts. Overall, it sounds like a harrowing one and then some. Thankfully for Amber, she has been far removed from Ye and his ways. They dated from 2008 to 2010, and following their split, it's been anything but cordial between them. However, as Rose stated in the interview, she feels bad for him at times whenever he crashes out. So there you go. Amber Rose has illuminated us on why Kanye is with women on why his women are always naked in public, and it's because he wants other guys to smash his chick, essentially. What do you think about that?
Wow. So as far as Amber Rose covering the Kanye thing, I think that was our synopsis after the Grammys situation was this is some weird fetish kink for him. You know, he's publicly admitted his addiction to corn on numerous occasions. His music, especially as of late, has been highly charged when it comes to sexual content.
Yeah.
And so I think he's just completely gone off the rails, which is saying something. Okay, because this guy has been I would say he was teetering on and off. He was a bit of a tweener of being off the ledge on it, but I think he's as you say, jumped the shark. he is all the way out there, bro, by himself. His latest rants and stuff like that should be enough proof for people out there that still cape for this man. I used to be a supporter of him, the person. His first two albums for sure, but then after that, it was just him, the person. But as of late, man, it's hard to stand behind any of this stuff. And this kink and this fetish, it makes sense now. Now that Amber Rose is coming out and saying that, because it tied into what we were saying, but that explains why he would date an Amber Rose. That explains why he would marry a Kim Kardashian. But then the weird part about it is he wants to get mad when guys are talking about his wife because they actually had her. I guess it has to be on his terms. I guess he has to be in the room. It's a two-man situation for him to co-sign it, especially if these dudes had your woman in the past, bro. So what's the big deal? I'm very confused. But at the end of the day, Kanye sounds confused as a human. He contradicts himself all the time, and his addiction to corn would be his ultimate downfall, which is wild business, man. Now, dealing with the cappery, with Amber Rose, the double talk and the delusion, I mean, it is hard listening to people who just are so used to lying that they don't even know how dumb they sound when they just contradict themselves. She was saying all this stuff of, oh yeah, I felt no, I like to cover myself. The first I seen of Amber Rose is when it was ass out. And this was back in the day, man. This was back in the day. I never believed her body was real. I always thought that she had enhancements in the assets. Ever since I seen her, man, I never believed that her body was hers. And this is like pre-BBL stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, she was always a person that was a put on, a try hard. And then when it came to her doing all this slut walk stuff, as the article mentioned, she was a pioneer for the sensories. So for her to sit here and go, oh, I felt bad for them, and oh, I was crying, and it was like, you're crying, oh, I don't want to dress like a whore, but you did slut walks.
where essentially, yeah, exactly.
I mean, what are you talking about here? Oh, yeah, you don't show feet? Nah, everybody got a price now. Now, if the money's good, I'll show my feet because it's just my feet. It's like, well, then you show feet. I mean, I just can't stand this. But I agree with her that Kanye does have a bit of a problem. She didn't say that, but I agree with it. He has a problem, and that all of this stuff that's been going on lately with him and his sex bot, it's just sad business, man. But what are your thoughts, man, on Kanye being outed by Amber Rose, basically saying that, hey, man, he has this little thing that he likes this, other men to want to desire his women. What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, it's an upside down world. I think we were talking about Jalen Green and Drea Michelle, mm-hmm. and the debate over whether she trapped him or whether, did she trap him and is he a victim, or did she not trap him and is he more accountable? And obviously I erred on the side of him being more accountable, because you're old enough, you grew up with the internet your whole life. You can look up people, you can look up the history, you get into it anyway. That's on you. That's your choice. I don't care how old you are. So, we were going through that back and forth. And I think we were talking about them when I said, it kind of seems like we're at this point now, oddly, in which we've now gone backwards. We've done a 180 in which a woman now has more value to a man. If you're doing this modern dating single thing, of course, like it's almost as though a woman has more value to a dude if she has the more skin she has in the game.
Which is
so I feel like for a guy like Jalen Green, like we look at Drea Michelle's extensive industry history as a deterrent, but right. I think for these new generations of dudes, they look at it as appealing. Like they're looking at a chick who has had multiple dudes in the industry as a reason why you should be with her, which is a weird parallel universe.
That's what girls do.
But I mean, that's men and women basically. Men nowadays are doing woman-like things more than ever. So for you to say that's what girls do, it makes sense because a lot of these guys are beta and do woman-like things at a very high clip.
It's crazy.
But yeah, like we're in this weird parallel paradox of a world where if a chick has been documented to have had an extensive history with industry guys, it makes her a more viable prospect for a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise it doesn't make sense. Why be a guy to whom the world is your oyster, and you would willfully date women like that. Drea Michelle, Brittany Renner, Amber Rose, like extensive industry history, and you voluntarily get into it. It's for no reason other than you believe that that's an appealing trait. It's a good quality to have. Oh, I can follow up now with my other industry guys so that he can tell me what that's like. That it's weird. It's very Diddy Party-esque.
It is.
It's very Diddy Party-esque. And
Yeah.
it's very strange, man. We live in an upside down world where things that I always thought were a deterrent are now viewed as like a good quality. I don't get it. So in saying that, I 100% believe that to be the case. I think he gets off on other men wanting to sleep with his girl. And like, listen, as a man out here, if you are with a woman who's attractive, you already have implicit knowledge that other dudes want your woman.
Exactly.
You already have implicit knowledge of this. But now we're at a point where we're taking it a step further and we're literally putting them on display so that we can now visibly see other guys wanting to have sex with our women.
Which is stupid.
It's the weirdest thing ever. and I guarantee you that if Kanye's woman cheats on him, he's gonna get mad at her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, what are you doing? Like, you're displaying her and essentially making her for sale. And when someone decides that they want to purchase it, you're gonna get mad. Well, why did you put it up for sale? What, you was just window dressing it? Now that's the mannequin model. That's the thing that they put on the mannequin in the store. You can't really buy that. That's for display purposes only, I guess. It's weird, bro. It's weird. I don't get these new human dudes. And when I say new human dudes, I don't just mean younger people. I also mean people who are older who have a new human mindset, who look at the world through the lens of this anything goes, completely socially deconstructed universe where we want to be able to kind of construct these new rules. So I 100% believe that, because otherwise it wouldn't make sense. Why would you want your woman to be naked in public? Why? Of course you want other guys to sleep with her, because that's kind of where we are with this situation. So, it's not for me. I've given up trying to understand this stuff, and rather I just observe it for what it is and call it out. But trying to understand it it's exhausting. I will never understand this. If I go out with my girl to if we go out to have a dinner, or I take her out somewhere and she's looking good, I already know every guy in there wants to smash. I already know this. So now we're at a point where I am going to, well, not me, but now we're at a point where we're taking it a step further and purposefully creating an environment in which we are able to now visibly see other guys wanting to smash our chick because it makes us feel good about ourselves. I don't get it, but this is another form of new human behavior. I have a little bit more to say on this, but I'll kick it back to you. But suffice to say, I think that this is weird. I don't get down with it, but I also find it entirely unsurprising.
When looking at the in the Diddler situation, there's countless accounts of him being insecure around men that can actually get women, him being jealous of those men, him actually, having a woman with him, but she finds the next man more interesting. He would get offended by that. And, situations, and word is, or word was, and this is before all of the allegations. This was just, just fodder going around the internet, is that, money don't make you real.
It doesn't.
Money don't mean you can't be lame. And just because you can make a good song and make good beats, don't mean you ain't lame. And this is lame. All his internet rants, it's lame. This stuff that, he's in such a position to actually really impact lives and make real change He's doing all of this. And that's what makes it lame. So he can say, oh, yeah, I'm pushing the envelope. I'm moving things forward. I'm a genius. You'll understand this later. Will I understand this later? Or is this something? Is this the fact that, you know what, I do understand it later after the Grammys, that you have a problem, a corn addiction. And man, hey, listen, bro. You know, hey man, the internet had us all in a vice grip, man. You know what I'm saying? I can't speak for every man in America, but damn near 80% of them. And you know, at some point, you have to really get off of it and detach and not let it take you under. And Kanye was a person that let it take him under, and he had the fame and notoriety to play into it even more. And so he went so far off the deep end that he's the only person at that part of the pool, you know, and he's trying to drag other people along with him. And it's like, hey, look, man, this ain't it. And when referring to Jalen Green, you know, and just bringing this whole thing, and yeah, just bringing this whole situation full circle, that yeah, all these guys got a little bit of that in them. That they want that woman that everybody else, you know, finds desirable, and then already done had.
Right.
So already done had, still currently posting booty pics and stuff while you're dealing with them. You know her DMs is popping, you know, but you're still dealing with her. Like, what is that? You know, what are you doing there? Now, if this is just a slider, one of the girls on your roster, one of your minis, okay, bro, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But these guys that's caking them down, getting engaged with them, marrying some of these slores,
getting them pregnant,
doing all the above. You know what I'm saying? Some guys did all the above. And so, yeah, they got a little bit of that in them. And when you brought up Jalen Green, man, you know, I hate to go off way. That's not off topic, but you know, there was that image, there was that clip out there of him clapping his mans up. Yeah, bro, and that's not a pause. He was really doing that. You know what I'm saying? Clapping his mans up as a fun gesture. Who has fun like that? So no wonder he's dealing with it. You know what I'm saying? He's out of pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's off balance as a person. So no wonder he's doing a situation like that with an obvious slur. So the same thing goes with Kanye. You know, so for him dealing with these public slurs. I mean, Kim Kardashian, when he first did that, I was like, what is this? This isn't college dropout, yay. He wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? This is industry, yay. No, this is sick twisted, yay. Yeah, sick twisted fantasies or whatever. This is sick and twisted, yay. And so now he wants to cry foul that she's doing me wrong. Kim, that is, she's doing me wrong. She sent her handlers like, you asked for that. So yeah, man, this whole situation with Kanye, man, you know, it's just bi-weekly. He is digging himself deeper and deeper into, you know, a grave. And, you know, it's to the point where he's now become this living cautionary tale. You know, he went from being this guy that was, I mean, he's still a legend in some people's book, I guess. But yeah, man. But he's gone from, at least in my book, of being somebody that's like, hey, man, that's, you know, that's Kanye, bro, to like, you know, a social pariah,
a Diddy party attender,
a Diddy defender, a R. Kelly defender. Come on, bro. You can't be around here doing that and beating your chest with it, but he is. And that's bizarre. So I can't stand behind that, you know? So yeah, man, he's clearly got a kink. He's clearly got a fetish. And as you said, he would probably get mad if she cheats. But that's why I said he probably has to be in the room. He has to co-sign it. If she goes rogue, you know, he feels offended, you know, because, you know, he got something that I don't have.
Yeah.
It's a lame sucker energy, bro. Yeah. But yeah, man, what do you have? What else you have to say, man? This is
No, I'm with you, man. You're right on the money, and you brought up the word lame. You know, that's kind of where I was gonna go. You know, you'd be amazed how many of these guys actually, deep down inside, hate women. You know, you think they like women because they get a lot of them, or at least they make a lot of music talking about it. But you'd be amazed how many of them actually, if you armchair psychiatrist them, they really hate women. They don't even like them.
100%.
And you can hear it in their music. Like
100%.
you can tell the guys. I bring Drake. Drake to me is in this category as well.
Yes, sir.
And I don't think that it's a coincidence that Drake got some chick pregnant who's an adult content creator. I don't think that's a coincidence. Like, these are people who, now, given, you know, Kanye back in the day, if you listen to his first album, he had a girl and whatnot. So I'm not going to say that Kanye was completely sexless or during his come up, but I believe Kanye, much like Drake throughout his come up, was somebody who was very hit or miss with women.
Yes.
He was very hit or miss. Like, Drake and Kanye, those two guys both strike me as guys who didn't consistently have success with women before they became famous.
Yes.
And so when you don't have a level of success with women that you think you should, and then you come into money and notoriety, and you now have the opportunity to buy your way into this, you're going to sort of develop a certain grudge against women because you couldn't get them before, and now you can get them. So now essentially you're going to crap all over them as a form of get back for the way that you perceive they treated you when you didn't have no money. So now here comes the domination talk, the domination rap. You know, Kanye, you call Kanye that thing that he did with Ty Dolla $ign. You said it's a very horny album. It is. It's a very horny album, and it's Kanye. And that isn't the first time he did this, but it's the latest example of him basically rapping about his sexual domination over women.
Yes, yes.
And I've met guys who talk like that.
Yeah.
Typically, guys who talk like that really don't like women.
Agreed.
They want to dominate them physically and psychologically as a form of revenge because they feel slighted by the way women treated them before they came into money and fame.
Yes.
And Drake is the same way. It's why Drake is constantly running roughshod over sex workers, Instagram models, strippers. He covets these kinds of plastic chicks because from a physical standpoint, he idolizes that, but he couldn't get it before. So now that he can get it, he's going to run roughshod over it as a form of like reconciliation for what he couldn't do before. And you don't see that with guys like J. Cole, for example. J. Cole, I believe, could get women before he had money and before he got fame. So now that he does have money and fame, it's just like, whatever, I was getting money already. I don't feel this need to dominate them physically and psychologically because I don't feel bitter towards them. They didn't do anything to me. Right. I've always been able to get women, whether I had money or not.
Right.
So when you brought up the word lame, that's what it reminded me of because that's how I see it too.
Yeah.
These guys really hate women. They do. And a form of that physical and psychological domination is I have more money than you, I have more fame and leverage than you. Put this on because I told you to. And they're doing that because they secretly hate them, not because they want to get off on the fact that their woman is so desirable. Really, they secretly hate women.
Yes.
That's my theory on that. And Drake and Kanye aren't the only guys who are like that.
No, they're not.
You can hear it in these guys' music. These guys that just go into the weeds with how much they want to just dominate women over and over again. They're telling you without telling you directly, they don't even like women.
Agreed.
So y'all can idolize these weirdo rappers all you want to, but these guys have deep-rooted psychological issues, and just because they can rap over a catchy beat, as you said, does not absolve them of this. Get off that narcotic. These are not the guys to follow, especially when it comes to women.
Yeah, man. I agree, bro. 1,000, bro. And you know, because that opened up a can of worms. But I'll say this as quick as possible, man. But I agree with you 1,000% on Drake. Kendrick called him out on that. You know what I'm saying? Then you know, what he see him as real competition. You know, he might pop ass with him. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, this whole thing that's gone on, there was one day I was listening to music, man. This was probably like 2015, 14, 15, and I'm just listening to all this stuff that's going on, man, just the latest garbage. And I'm hearing these guys just talking about, yeah, man, I just want the head to kick her out. You know, I don't need no O's, money over B's, you know, all of the standard issue stuff.
Right.
But I'm hearing this every song. It's just me and my N words. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I see a rap video. It's just a whole bunch of men in the house with no shirts on. And I'm going, you know, what is going on here? And so back then, I said, you know, this is homoerotic rap. And these guys are promoting homosexuality. They are. And it's not homosexuality in the sense that they're actually talking about man on man.
Right.
But it's in the sense that we hate women.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that. And, you know, the further back in the crates I would dig and stuff like that. And but that's why, you know, even with the Lil Wayne stuff and but you at least now it makes sense to me why Lil Wayne would talk so aggressively like that towards women, because he was in a situation with Birdman. And so these guys get the industry with the diddler parties and other things, they groom these guys into these positions to where they don't really like women like that for real. And so once they are in this space and they're doing these two-mans, these group sessions and all of this other wild stuff, salacious, debaucherous behaviors, then they walk around with that spirit, get on the mic and start rapping that stuff to a whole nation of people, to a whole world of people. Now there's a little boy in the house trying to buy Anthony Edwards shoes and stuff like that. Now he listening to that stuff. He couldn't buy Anthony Edwards shoes. He got John Morant's now. But now he listened to his favorite rapper talking about some money over bees. It's just me and my N words. I love my N words, and run around the house with men with shirts off. And then so now he grows up. He's still heterosexual, but he has this complex now.
Yes. Yeah.
And now he gets this woman pregnant, and now he don't want to be around no more. He can't figure out why, and neither can his mom. And so my situation, so this kind of ties into the other one, just from this tangent situation. But yeah, I agree that there's the overall hatred for women and stuff like that for a lot of these prominent rappers. To me, it's not coincidental. That's why they have to go through all of these little weird parties and gatekeeping and stuff like that, because you know it's a certain type of man that's all the way at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And so for Kanye to be one of these people, which I thought he wasn't, but time has proven that he is one of these guys indeed, that he is just a lame guy who's just a sex-driven hound who can't think beyond the next nut. Yeah. It's lame, dude.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. So I questioned Amber Rose at the time. I questioned all of this stuff, and I just kept writing it off. But now that it's really here, this Sensiori stuff is what really did it to me, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, you know, this guy's out of his mind. Yeah, this is what did it, y'all.
Yeah.
So y'all could have said he lost his mind years ago, but this is what drove it over the edge for me. But yeah, man, spot on, bro. I agree 1,000%, man.
Yeah, I think these guys really hate women, man. It's crazy. And it's unfortunate too, because so many people listen to their stuff and follow along with them. It's very dangerous, man. Dangerous rhetoric, as you like to say.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, man, I remember certain lyrics, man, just really stand out to me when it comes to Kanye. Like on the Monster song off that very album that I mentioned earlier in the video, where he's like, put the P word in a sarcophagus. Now she's saying that I bruised her esophagus. And it's like, yeah, that sounds cool because it rhymes, but he means that. Like, he means that. He wants to bruise her esophagus.
Yeah, he's into that weird
stuff.
stuff.
Because he's into that form of domination, because that's his victory lap. Because before they were running victory laps over him, so now he's gonna run victory laps over them.
Man, what's going on in the world, bro?
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. it's crazy, bro. We are in an upside down world. Hey, man, I hope you get the help you need, Kanye.
Yeah, y'all stay safe out there, y'all. It's crazy out here right now. Lord have mercy.
All right, and now we are going to follow up on more ongoing talk about the NBA, this time involving Charles Barkley and some highly charged remarks that he had for ESPN, which Stephen A. Smith, the at this point face of ESPN, if you look at the reports of his $100 million contract, which I don't get it, but Stephen A. Smith responded to Charles Barkley. So for anybody who doesn't know, we're going to play the clip. Charles Barkley on Inside the NBA last week went off on Kendrick Perkins specifically, but overall he was talking about ESPN and its penchant for only wanting to talk about certain teams specifically, and that being an injustice towards the NBA overall and ignoring the teams that have had real success and deserve to be talked about the most. Agreed. So he pointed out Kendrick Perkins specifically for perpetuating this, but he was mainly taking shots at ESPN, period. And Stephen A. Smith, of course, as the do boy for ESPN, he definitely he has something to say about that. So he clapped back at Charles. So we're gonna go ahead and play this and give our takes on this whole situation. So this says Stephen A. Smith blasts fooled Charles Barkley after his Kendrick Perkins ESPN rip job. Stephen A. Smith didn't stay silent for too long after Charles Barkley eviscerated ESPN and in particular Kendrick Perkins. Perkins responded to the clips about him, but Smith also felt the need to jump into the fray and responded to Barkley's critiques in a post on social media. So before I read Stephen A. Smith's response, it makes more sense to actually play what Charles had to say. So let me cue this up real quick.
Fool idiot.
We're gonna cue this up. Charles went in, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go. Oh, there we go. Trying to go full screen on it.
You know, Kenny Smith was scared, bro, like he always is.
Well, yeah, Kenny Smith always is. Kenny Smith is the high road guy. Kenny Smith is the high road guy. But okay, so here we go. Here's what Charles had to say.
I saw a fool idiot on TV talking about the Lakers saved the NBA.
Oh, come on, Buffalo.
Well, let me refresh it. We're going to play this because this sound is just too good. So
yeah, man. I mean, listen, bro. A lot of people got a lot of stuff to say about Charles Barkley, man, as far as his takes on certain things or whatever. But I would say, honestly, bro, people could say always, but I would just say, man, over the last few years, man, last 5 to 10, honestly, he's just been spot on calling this stuff out, man. And they say he's a get off my lawn hater or whatever, but he just calls it how he sees it, man. And I appreciate all of it.
I do as well. All right, so here we go.
I saw a fool idiot on TV talking about the Lakers saved the NBA.
Save the NBA.
Yeah. He's an idiot and a fool, but he know he is. What's his name, Shaq?
Which one you talking about?
Kendrick Perkins.
Oh,
he said the Lakers. First of all, the Lakers have had a great 2 weeks. He said the Lakers saved the NBA season. That's because them fools on the other network, which we're gonna be working for next year. That's all they talk about. No problem with that. But y'all are idiots because y'all talk about the Lakers and the Warriors all the time. Y'all don't. The Cleveland Cavaliers have won 12 straight games. You fools on other networks, which we gonna become fools next year. We be working on that network.
Man, if we were like going to a poetry slam at a coffee shop and they snap the fingers whenever the poet is done.
Yeah, bro, that was worth finger snaps, bro.
Yeah, that's a finger snap worthy. All right, so Stephen A. Smith responded on Twitter by saying, "Yo, Chuck, stop the BS with the y'all. Attach a name to it," which he did. He said Kendrick Perkins. So I don't know what Stephen A. Smith is talking about. He literally said Kendrick Perkins. He said a name. I know I've been talking about the Cavs being the number one threat to the Celtics. Once you come over here, there's gonna be some folks waiting to call you a fool. P.S. You know I love you though. See y'all soon. Yo at the Jet on TNT. Workbook those free throws. Love y'all. So that was Stephen A. Smith's response. As part of a deal with ESPN and the NBA, Turner is licensing out the beloved studio show Inside the NBA to the worldwide leader starting next season. All right, so there's no other reason to continue on with that article. That's pretty much the gist of it. You saw what Charles had to say, and then Stephen A. responded to that. So, I'll let you go ahead. The floor is yours with your take on that exchange and what Charles had to say, and then Mr. Stephen A. Smith's response.
Well, okay, as I already said, man, Charles laid the thunder down. All right, he, you know what I'm saying, like Zeus, bro, straight from the heavens, down to earth, and striking the Disney Studios, ESPN, Kendrick Perkins, and of course, Sass himself, Stephen A. Smith. And then here comes Stephen A. Smith. All right. With all of this, you know what I'm saying? Internet bass in his voice, Twitter fingers. That's what this is. You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't have this level of get back when LeBron got in his face that night, I think. Because that was when the Lakers was playing the Knicks. That's when he was there or whatever.
Was that the same night?
It had to have been because they had the Lakers and Knicks, so that was the night he got pressed by LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
And he ain't did nothing but backpedaling ever since.
Yep, he bent the knee. He bent the knee the next day. He bent the knee.
Unbelievable, bro. You know what I'm saying? But is it really? We're dealing with Stephen A. Smith right here. You know what I'm saying? Stephen Fetchard himself. He's got a closet. You know, like Doug, when Doug opened his closet, he got a whole bunch of the same vest, khaki pants, and everything. When you walk into Stephen A's closet, it's just a whole bunch of tap dance shoes. You know what I'm saying? White shoes himself. You know what I'm saying? Chucking and jiving. And so when LeBron pressed him, you know what I'm saying? As the duck he is, when LeBron pressed him like that, you know what I'm saying? That's my effing son. Leave my effing son. That's my effing. Like, what you gonna do? I would have emailed you doke at him. You know what I'm saying? Or email you who poked you. You know what I'm saying? I would have just straight up like, bro, like, who you talking to me? What you gonna do about it? Of course, but Stephen A. Smith knew what that was. And Stephen A. Smith knew what that was. That was LeBron, because LeBron is backed by the NBA. And so Stephen A. Smith didn't want to be in a bad place. He has to kiss ass. And if you're making the air quote king mad, you're in a bad place within the media. So that's why Stephen A. Smith said he didn't even want to talk about it. The ESPN made him talk about it. And so his boss told him to go dance, boy. Clear this up right now. So he been soft shoeing it ever since when it came to that.
Yeah.
So now Chuck want to come over here and address Kendrick Perkins, not you, Stephen A. Smith. Now he mentioned that whole network. You know what I'm saying? But he called Kendrick Perkins out specifically, as you mentioned. And he called out that idiot Kendrick Perkins, which he is. You know what I'm saying? He got tap dance shoes on, but they kind of like orthopedics. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. He's not soft shoe, he's hard shoe. You know what I'm saying? Clanking around like a Clydesdale. He's a buffoon and an idiot. You know what I'm saying? I wish we had that clip queued up of him trying to do crossovers in the driveway. That's how he talks. The same way he try to do crossovers. It's embarrassing. And so for Charles Barkley to call him out, I was right there, 1,000%. You know what I'm saying? And so for Stephen A. Smith want to unmute now and come after Charles Barkley, you know what I'm saying, with Twitter fingers, you know what I'm saying, as if, hey, bro, you got to come over here to my network, okay, respectfully, you know what I'm saying, it's like, man, please, bro. So now he trying to pull rank on Charles Barkley in the situation of, hey, bro, you know what I'm saying, you gonna have to come over to my network next year, and I ain't gonna play fair with you. You know what I'm saying? Type whatever the hell that means. Basically snitching to the bosses. So whatever it is with the Stephen A, man, you know what I'm saying? Whenever he'll do something that go, hey, man, I guess he does have a mind of his own. Here he comes right back again. You know what I'm saying? Just proving why he made that $100 million, because he's willing to tap dance at the drop of a dime. So I don't care about his little mini Twitter fingers clap back. It was just as soft as him backing down when LeBron approached him. But what are your thoughts on Charles Barkley laying fire to ESPN and then Stephen A. Smith responding?
I think Charles Barkley was a mouthpiece in that moment for all real basketball fans.
I
everywhere.
agree, 100, 1,000.
I think there's the mainstream fan that only knows the Lakers and Warriors and only watches First Take. So all they know is this programming and these teams, and so to them, whatever ESPN does is gospel. But then there's the real basketball fan who watches all the games, who knows the ins and outs of the game, knows the history of it, follows along with these teams and these players, and consumes a plethora of content, not just the surface level mainstream stuff that they peddle on ESPN. And Charles Barkley was speaking on behalf of all the real fans who know the difference between the fake and the real.
Right.
1,000%. I agree with him 100% on Kendrick Perkins. And see, here's what Charles was getting at. There's all this conversation, you know. I believe the NBA is dealing with an existential threat. It doesn't know what kind of league it wants to be. It doesn't know where it wants to go. It's directionless at the moment. Yes. Do we try to figure out how to deal with load management, or do we just let it go? Do we try to figure out how to deal with the 3-point shot, or do we let it go? Do we let players continue to get more power, or do we try to rein it in to give the organizations and the owners a little bit more of their power back? The league doesn't know what it wants to do. It doesn't know what it wants to do. All it knows is that it wants to continue to make more money. And in lieu of the existential threat, we are now dealing with this ongoing conversation around whether the league is falling off because it's directionless. Part of the reason, in my opinion, why the NBA continues to experience this existential threat is because of its allowance of this narrative-based commentary 24/7. Like, I think people are tired of that. And I think Charles was lending voice to some of that frustration.
Yes.
Like, the problem that people have with ESPN, and Kendrick Perkins does this, he perpetuates it, is after every single game or every single event that takes place in the NBA, you tune in to First Take on one of these ESPN shows, and they got to do GOAT talk and legacy talk.
Exactly.
People are tired of that. You don't think that this constant GOAT talk and legacy talk that y'all are doing is feeding into people's disdain with the NBA?
Exactly, man.
You don't think that that's fueling the divisiveness and the frustration? Where do you think that stuff is coming from? Like, your favorite player is Allen Iverson.
Yes.
Right? Your favorite player is not LeBron or Michael Jordan.
No.
Right? Your favorite player is Allen Iverson.
Yes.
But when you turn on the ESPN First Take, it's narrative talk.
Yes.
So I'll give you an example. This is the easiest example that I can think of, and it's what alienates people like you who are in your position, who like people like Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson in 2000-2001 season was the driving force on the Philadelphia 76ers. They went to the NBA Finals and eventually lost 4-1 to the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq. Allen Iverson was the only real offensive threat on the team. The rest of the team was George Lynch and Dikembe Mutombo and Eric Snow and Kevin Ollie. Right? That was the rest of the team.
Aaron McKee, is that his name?
Aaron McKee. He backed up Eric Snow. He came off the bench. Yeah. So Allen Iverson is a driving force on the team. Of course, they get to the Lakers and they're overmatched. They win game 1 and then they lose 4 straight. And coming out of that series, it was just they didn't get it done. They lost. Iverson lost, and that's it. But you put a player like LeBron in that exact same situation, and I'm being told on ESPN that the reason why he lost isn't because they were overmatched and not good enough, but it's because LeBron didn't have enough help.
Yes, bro.
That's the kind of narrative stuff that fans are tired of, I believe.
Yeah.
That's the vitriol that gets thrown at ESPN's way is because of stuff like that. People are tired of that. So now you've hitched your wagon to a LeBron, and it's not just LeBron, Steph Curry. They're grooming Victor Wembanyama to be the next person. You hitch your wagon to these individuals and you create these weird storylines to sort of explain whatever happened with any sort of outcome in their career. Meanwhile, if my favorite player is Tracy McGrady or Allen Iverson, I'm just left on the cutting room floor getting told that they just didn't get it done.
Right.
And who created the environment for that kind of commentary to exist? They did.
Yep.
And they put it on TV every day.
Every day,
So
bro.
what Charles Barkley is saying is get rid of this. Stop it with every time the Lakers win or lose a game, we do not have to turn on TV the next day and talk about what this means for LeBron's legacy. We don't. If LeBron has a 30-point triple-double, why do we have to turn on TV the next day and have that mean something with the GOAT conversation? People don't give a shit about that. Y'all are creating a situation in which those are the talking points. You're creating the market.
Yep.
And then when people rebel against the market, you complain that this is what people want to talk about. That's why we put it on. No, you want to talk about that, and that's why you put it on. Where are all of these people who are clamoring for more GOAT legacy debate? Who's doing it? No one is asking for that. You're putting it on because you want to. And that's what Charles Barkley's talking about. Hey man, and then you'll hear people like Stephen A. Smith who say, well, we have the highest ratings. So what? What the hell does that mean? It just means you have the majority of mainstream people who don't know any better.
Exactly.
People who have the TV on in the background on ESPN and don't turn it anywhere else. What does that even mean? Because you rate the highest? You don't have to do GOAT legacy talk to rate the highest. I watch all of these other shows on other networks like Fox where they do good basketball debate talking about other teams and other players, and they don't do GOAT legacy debate every day like y'all do. So as far as I'm concerned, Charles Barkley was 100% on the money. Kendrick Perkins is an idiot and a fool. Of course, the NBA is dealing with problems and challenges. Of course, the NBA is dealing with an existential threat. You have mouthpieces on networks like Kendrick Perkins who are going on national television and saying the Lakers saved the NBA. Why say that? Who does that? Why do we even need? Why do you feel compelled to get on national TV and say stuff like that? And then you'll get on social media or go into another show and complain about how people are talking bad about the NBA, how fans are talking, how the media is talking bad about the NBA.
Exactly.
You got morons like Channing Frye saying that people are too nostalgic over the NBA and don't want to let the past go, and that's why the NBA is suffering. No, it's suffering because people like Kendrick Perkins are fueling that fire by saying that a single team is saving the whole league.
Yeah, man.
Okay, well, if the NBA is if the Lakers are saving the NBA, why should I give a damn about other teams? So I think that's what Charles is talking about.
I agree, man.
That is what he's talking about. And when they announced that show was moving over to ESPN, I shed a single tear because all Disney and ESPN are going to do is bastardize the hell out of that show.
Yep.
They're going to neuter it and turn it into the ESPN version of Inside the NBA.
Yep.
It won't be nearly as compelling. It won't be nearly as interesting. It won't be nearly as funny. It won't be nearly as insightful. And you will have conquistadors. You will have conquistadors, colonizers like Stephen A. Smith, who will invade that platform and dilute it into perpetuity.
Yes.
It's sad. It really is.
Hey, man, I agree, bro. And I remember when they first started all of that GOAT debate stuff, probably around 2007, 8-ish.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, what are y'all talking about? And it's not like I was anti-LeBron. I was like, hey, man, you know what I'm saying? This guy came out immediately. So I was there and I'm watching. And then there was stuff going on. I was like, oh, well, I guess he ain't got it. Hopefully he gets it by, when he turns 30, or get close to his 30s. But at that point, I was like, let the man do his thing. But then they started the agenda. They started the agenda back then. And they just kept pushing it. And it got to the point where it's like the conversation spilled over to the basketball court.
It did, yeah.
So now these guys are giving talking points that they heard on ESPN. And I'm like, hey, man, what are you talking about? And they just, hey, man, he's 6'8", 260 pounds, runs like a freight train. So what the hell? Who talks like that? When we were talking about anybody, we were talking about Iverson, we were talking about Jordan, we were talking about anybody. We didn't mention their height and their weight and how they did any damn thing. We were just talking about the game. And so, so those talking points spilled over into, into like the psyche of sports fans.
It did.
Not all sports fans, but I guess the casuals. But these were dudes that played at the court too. So I wouldn't deem them casual, but it was still getting to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been going on for so long to the point where I can't even watch it, bro. Me personally, I just can't watch it anymore. It'll be segments. I'll watch a segment here or a segment there, especially with, YouTube and other things like that. I can watch this. I can dance around GOAT conversations. I don't have to watch it. If I'm watching the TV, then I'm subjected to it. But I can just watch clips of something else that happened.
Yeah.
But them ignoring the Cleveland Cavaliers is criminal. Them ignoring OKC is criminal. And like you said, man, OKC's got the MVP this year. You know what I'm saying? It's either him or Jokic again. You know what I'm saying? But they got the MVP on their team at OKC, and those boys be playing, man. They be playing defense, bro. Like, they be balling. And, Chet down, who gives a damn? They still out there. They just throw somebody out there, and that guy be hooping. And so it's like, hey, man, can we have a Dort conversation? Can we bring in Lugens Dort? Or y'all don't want to talk about Dort? He's not exciting. He's not a splash person. You know what I'm saying? Or what about Jalen Williams? We can't talk about him, And so, no, these guys aren't exciting. These guys aren't face of the NBA material, But those guys be out there hooping. Everybody over there in Cleveland, and they just throw somebody out there and they're balling. So nobody talks about Evan Mobley at all. But Evan Mobley's a baller. And so, hey, man, I'm over it. I'm over it. So that's why I checked out. And then when I try to watch the games, there's this weird thing going on where these guys are flopping and these certain guys are getting calls and these other teams aren't. And it bothers the hell out of me. I can't watch it. I just want to see a game get played. So for people like me, I guess the purists, just guys that just want to watch the basketball, man, we're not allowed to.
Yeah, it's not too much to ask.
It's not. And if I'm watching basketball commentary, I want to hear them talk about the game that's on. It's talk about that game. But if there was a game that's on, or even on ESPN, somehow, some way, they're going to find a way to bring up that guy or bring up the Warriors or some other team that's not even relevant, because they think by dragging these people's names into the conversation, it makes people more interested. No, in actuality, like you mentioned, it turns us off.
It does.
So, yeah, man, I'm right on with Charles Barkley, man, spot on. I was surprised that he let all of it go like that, but he hit so many nails on the head, bro. He built the damn house in 2 minutes. So I agree with him wholeheartedly, man. But will the NBA listen? Will ESPN listen? Hell no. They think they're smarter than us. So they're going to keep bombarding us with the same garbage. So I'm going to keep not watching either. So, yeah, man.
When you are paying somebody handsomely to talk about basketball on national television, and this person goes onto national television and says with a straight face, the Lakers saved the NBA.
Come on, bro. Like a clown.
That is such ridiculous. That's such a ridiculous thing to say. And like, you don't even realize what you're doing. You will be, and I'm speaking on Kendrick Perkins, of course. Yeah. You will be the same person who will parrot Channing Frye's speech, complaining about how the media discusses the NBA, yet you will also get on national television and make comments like that, not realizing that comments like that diminish the NBA.
Yes.
When you say one singular team is saving the entire league because of a trade, you're diminishing the rest of the league by propping up one team as the savior.
Yep.
That does the sport no favors. And these are the kinds of people that they hire over there, and they're supposed to be the quote unquote worldwide leader. All they do is narrative talk every day.
All they do, bro.
Every day. Every time that a game takes place, the next day, there are going to be topics not around X's and O's or basketball or how good is this team really. It's going to be narrative-driven conversations. What does this mean for this player's legacy? Players who ain't even been in the league long enough to have enough skin in the game to have a legacy. You know, they've used the word legacy into the ground so much, I can't even really use the word and say it with a straight face. It's ridiculous. Every single thing with you guys is legacy this, GOAT that, GOAT debate, legacy, top 10, top 5. All they do over there is narrative talk. And I don't want to hear anything about that's what we need to do to rate, because I watch the shows on FS1. They don't do that, and they rate too. They're not doing all of this legacy crap that you guys do. So you can miss me with that BS logic. At the end of the day, their success is predicated solely on the reality that at this point they have become too big to fail. It is not because of the quality of content.
No.
It's not. It's not. It's because they are running a de facto monopoly on sports media in the mainstream.
Yes.
That's the only reason why.
Yep.
That's why First Take rates the highest. They have no true competition.
Exactly.
So all the way around, I don't like the way that they are just, to me, there's a bit of a hypocritical, contradictory nature to NBA coverage over there, because they will spend so much time, engaging in ongoing dialogue over the state of the NBA, how well it is or is not doing, and how talk of the league's demise is greatly exaggerated. Yet they will at the same time do and say things that perpetuate the demise of the NBA. You can't make that make sense. Like, I was, as a fan of the game, I was offended when Kendrick Perkins said that.
Yeah, I bet.
Saved it for who? They ain't saved it for me. Saved it for who? Everybody I know who likes the NBA is going to watch the NBA whether the Lakers are good or not. Whether that trade happened or not, they were still going to be watching it. So who the hell saved it for who, Kendrick? Who did they save it for? Stuff like that is killing the NBA more than anything else.
Amen.
And it's right on with Charles Barkley. 1,000%. I don't care how well you thought he did or did not talk or elocute himself. The substance of his message was right on the money.
Yeah, man. And I've said this on, numerous occasions, especially when we were talking about the Luka trade. For whatever reason, the NBA loves the Lakers. The NBA loves the Lakers. And that talking point that Kendrick Perkins gave is that is what the NBA thinks. They think that trade did save the NBA. That's how the NBA thinks. And ESPN is just a talking piece for the NBA. And that's what I was telling you, man. Their business model of having one person be the face of the league is ridiculous. It's stupid. And it's old. That worked when there was just one, sports network. That worked when it was just 35 channels on TV. People are eclectic right now. People can multitask. People like variety. There's multiple people y'all can advertise, but their business model is stuck in the 90s. And so they think that one trade for that one team is what really matters. That's not competitive balance. That's not anything. So let's just ignore the best teams in the league and talk about number 2. It's ridiculous, dude. So yeah, man, it's just like you said, ESPN's running a monopoly more or less. Yeah, Fox is there, but you know, they're gladly playing second fiddle.
Correct. Exactly.
They're not trying to challenge the power structure at all.
Right.
And so ESPN, Disney, and the and the NBA, they're all in cahoots. They're all in bed with each other, and they all think they're smarter than us. And they look at all these billions of dollars that they get for all of these media rights situations, and they feel like, you know, they can tell us what we want to see. But yeah, man, one of these days, I think they will learn. You know, there's enough content creators on YouTube and in other platforms where they're voicing their opinion and their disdain. And not all of them are from our cohort. There's some young cats out there too that see the BS, you know, and you know, they just want basketball.
Yeah.
So hey man, this is going to be a fight for the purists versus the machine.
It's just it's so unfortunate that saying get rid of the narrative talk and just give me basketball talk means I'm a purist. Like I've been forced into that category.
Agreed.
Like out of necessity. It's ridiculous because I don't consider myself to be a purist.
But you know, we're the closest thing to it
by default. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's disgusting, bro.
It is. I told you, bro. I've been got off them. Because I just got tired of it. It was over and over. Like they're the reason why conversations between, you know, like Jordan LeBron conversations, for example, they're the reason why those conversations get so heated. They fan the flames because every day when something happens, there's a GOAT topic.
Exactly.
There's a legacy topic. There's a top 10 topic. Maybe if you did a little less of that, people wouldn't take this stuff so seriously. But that stuff to me is a parasite within basketball commentary. It is not the same in other major sports.
Nope.
Yeah, people might get a little out of pocket talking Tom Brady or whatever, Joe Montana or whatever, but it's not the same. It's not nearly as parasitic as it is in the NBA. The NBA has a wealth of problems, and I've said this before. It's not just the way the game is being played by the players. It's not just the way the teams are being managed by the organizations. It's also the way the media talks about it. It's unique, the way the media talks about the NBA, and that is also contributing to the many problems that it has.
Yeah, 1,000. So, hey, shout out to Charles Barkley, man, and shout out to Shaq, man. Shout out to everybody on the set, bro. They know what's up, bro.
Yeah,
and I'm sad to see it go.
Yeah,
Crazy,
yeah. Shouts out to Ernie too. Ernie,
yeah, man.
Ernie, the real deal.
Yeah, man. He low key a G in the game, bro. Oh man. Yeah. Oh, brother.
And now apparently Umar Johnson is a deadbeat pops.
Oh man, it ain't so.
So Umar is currently embroiled in a bit of controversy because there's a woman who I think she says she's 22 years old who is claiming that Umar Johnson is her biological father. She claims to have receipts on this, and she is saying that this guy has not been involved in her life. He's never come around. They have no relationship. And she also found out that she has a sister who shares they both share the same father in Umar, and she wants to meet her sister, and she is not being permitted to do so because Umar is ignoring her requests, her attempts to meet her biological sister because Umar is not allowing it to happen. And so she said that she tried to make several attempts to make this happen off the internet. And, you know, she hasn't been successful in doing so. And so now she's taken her quest onto the internet. She stresses that she is not trying to clout chase, but that she is doing this out of necessity because this guy is a hypocrite because of, you know, his public persona. It is not in line with the way that he has carried his relationship on with this person. And on top of that, he is also stopping her from meeting an apparent sister that she has. So all the way around, this is a bit of an ugly situation. But this says Dr. Umar's deadbeat denial denounces alleged daughter's defamation. Dr. Umar Johnson is known as the premier Pan-Africanist, but he found himself at the center of a social media firestorm. A young woman hit TikTok with claims alleging that the prince of Pan-Africanism is an absentee father. Dr. Umar, a deadbeat dad, we have to talk about it. Dr. Umar did not take that one lying down. He went off. But let us take a step back. Who is this woman? Right now, she's a mystery, an unnamed Philly lady that insists she's not here for clout. She just wants answers. According to her, she reached out to another woman she believes is her sister, only to be left with more questions. She then takes to social media to drag Umar for his so-called hypocrisy, essentially saying, "How are you an advocate for Black families while allegedly neglecting your own?" He has not been in my life, she claimed. Again, I'm not making this video to bash him. I'm making this video to state facts. You can't get on Instagram and social media and portray to be an activist and talk about how Black kings need to be with Black women, but you're not even in your Black daughter's life. So yeah, let's go ahead and play some of this woman's testimony here.
Crazy.
Hey TikTok, so I just wanted to come on here with a small short announcement. I just want to start this video off by saying I'm not trying to get clout. I literally just want to have a conversation with my father. My biological father is Dr. Umar. He has another daughter. I tried to contact him about, getting to know my sister on my dad's side. I asked him if he knows her or if he has her number. He ignored me and never responded. I'm 22 years old now. My dad has never been to anything important, no graduation, no birthday parties, nothing. He has not been in my life. Again, I'm not making this video to bash him. I'm making this video to state facts, okay? You can't get on Instagram and get on social media and portray to be an activist and talk about how Black kings need to be with Black women, but you're not even in your Black woman's daughter's life. It doesn't make sense. You're being a hypocrite. And it's frustrating because I reached out to you. I reached out to you. I shouldn't have had to do that. I'm your daughter, but I'm smart enough and logical enough to know that you would never reach out to me because you don't have my phone number. And I'm pretty sure you wouldn't try to reach out to me because for what? I don't want anything out of you. I want nothing but a conversation. Forget the relationship. I really don't care too much about that at this point. I just wanted a conversation out of you and you shut me down. You ignored me. You should never be too busy for your daughter ever in life. So I just wanted to make this video to just try to, I guess, somehow find my sister on my dad's side. So if you see this, please reach out to me. Please DM me because I want to know who you are. Why do I have siblings out there that I don't know about? It's unfair. And deadbeat fathers is very common nowadays, especially in the Black community, right? We all know Dr. Umar reps the Black community or whatever, but you can't rep that if you're not even in your daughter's life. You moving backwards. You're moving backwards. It's not making sense. To the public, you look like this person, but in private, you a whole nother person. And I'm not bashing you. I just don't understand why you're ignoring me. I'm 22 years old and you have yet to be in my life. No graduations, no parties. When I get married, are you going to be at the wedding? Are you going to walk me down the aisle? Yo, I have a stepdad who has been in my life since a little girl. He has been in my life. And I thank God for him because my biological father couldn't even do that, y'all. My biological father is not even on my birth certificate because when my mom had me, he left. And I do have a DNA test. So yes, I can prove that that's my father. I would never get on here and lie to y'all. That's kind of sick and delusional and crazy. But I'm just making this video because I want to find my sister. And when I reached out to him about giving me her number or if he even had it, I was ignored. So now I guess I have to take matters into my own hands. So if you see this video, sister, please reach out to me because if he's not going to allow us to be in contact, I'll do it myself. I just want to end this video by saying that daughters who have deadbeat fathers should not have to go through this. This is very present in the Black community. And as an activist, I would not think that you would be a deadbeat because you rep the Black community so much. It doesn't make any sense. You cannot be a hypocrite. You can't say do A, but you're doing B. It doesn't make any sense. So y'all already heard my mission for this video. Y'all already heard why I'm making this video. So if she can reach out to me, I would love that. I would love to have a conversation with you because you are my sister on my father's side that I have never met. I don't even know your name. I don't even know how old you are. I have a sister on my mom's side and I'm the oldest. I'm pretty sure that my sister that's on my dad's side, I'm probably older than her. I'm supposed to be guiding her. I'm supposed to be teaching her things because you as the father, you're not doing that. So let me do that as an older sister. But that's the end of this video. As I stated in the beginning of this video, I'm not trying to bash this man. I'm stating facts. Facts. And in the next clip, I will show y'all the screenshot of me trying to reach out to him and he ignored me after I asked him if he had my sister's phone number. So here you go.
All right, and that's that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So the article goes on to say, the good doctor didn't waste any time striking back. Now, this is Umar's response. If you mind my personal business, I don't care who you are, Umar declared. I strongly recommend you mind your business because if you don't, you will be blocked. He denied everything, but he went to another level. There was an interesting invitation extended to the young woman and her family. Get daughter Smurf, mama Smurf, and then papa Smurf, and we're going to have a nice conversation in front of the world, he said. Let's get to the bottom of this, and I'm going to bring white man paperwork. So baby Smurf, please get mama Smurf, and papa Smurf is going to pull up. Smurfs are cute and lovable. I don't like this, and what is white man paperwork? I hope we are not doing a Trump-like denial. At this point, it looks like Umar is standing 10 toes down, deep in denial. I hope something positive comes out of this because this is the sort of mess we don't need. We need that school in Wilmington, Delaware to get finished. So there you go. She sounds very, very adamant. She's very adamant. She sounds very convicted, like she knows beyond the shadow of a doubt that everything that she is saying is true. So what do you think about that? What do you think about this situation?
Not surprised, unfortunately. Now I knew he had children out there, didn't know how old they were. So this is the first one to actually come out and say something. Yeah, I knew Umar was just out here in these streets, man. He talk all that stuff on one hand, but I think if people were just really paying attention to him, that he doesn't really practice what he preaches. What's this, 2025? We still don't have the school in Wilmington, Virginia, West Delaware, or whatever the hell it's supposed to be at. Why? I've seen videos of him saying the reason why I didn't get the school started because I'm going to be honest, I tried to hire black people and they blah, 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 blah. And they see, we do each other wrong in the community. And I'm like, no, don't try to spin this on us, bro. You're just being negligent. I think last time whenever it was when we talked about Umar, I had brought up that, he's, for this school or whatever, him trying to do it alone. There's so many people that are willing to help him. I've seen it in some of his chats. So to say, hey man, I run a construction company or whatever. I can help you, do some of the repairs or whatever. Hey man, I do carpentry. Hey man, I do, and people were willing to come through and help, just to get the school up off the ground. But the thing is with Umar is that the school is not a real thing. So once, and this has been going on for years now, man, years. And I've also shared the story on here before, I believe, but it was back in 2012. I saw videos of him on YouTube, and he was having something down in Fort Lauderdale or whatever. So I drove all the way from Tallahassee to come down. He was talking about send resumes and stuff like that for people that wants to try to start a school down in South Florida. So this is 2012. So yeah, man, I ain't really have it like that at the time, but I'm fresh off of graduating from school. So I was like, hey man, I'm ready to get back. I'm trying to do my thing. So I go down there, and he's basically, I mean, it was like a whole day type of seminar thing where job interview type situation. That's what we were told. But it was the whole time he was talking about polygamy. He was literally talking about polygamy the whole time, and trying to coerce the women in there to buy into his polygamous views. And it was some real people down there, bro. It was like some real people that was about that action when it comes to wanting to start a school, wanting to help our children and stuff like that. You know, OGs, man, some dudes with gray hairs and stuff like that. And you know what I'm saying? They were out there, and they were shocked and surprised. And one dude just, came out and said, like, towards the end, he's like, hey, man, are we going to actually talk about the school? We've been sitting here talking about, all of this relationships. We're going to get that, brother. We're going to get that, brother. Just shut them down.
And did you ever get there?
Bruh, I would say out of the whole thing, and we were there for hours. And when I say hours, at least 6-7 hours. I would say out of that whole time, bro, we really talked about the school probably all of 45 minutes.
Wow.
If that. The rest of the time, we're talking about Black relationships, Black love, polygamy, all this other stuff. So from there, because I brought my old boy out there, I brought my sister, you know what I'm saying? I was really trying to do this thing. I thought bro was real. So this is 2012. So after that, I knew he was a scammer. I just knew he was a scammer. I felt like I got played. And so after that situation, never believed a word this man said, even though, he would say things that make sense. It's like, hey, that makes sense. That makes sense. But that's how he get people to buy into him and pay him for his lifestyle of just traveling around the country, traveling around the world, doing these fake ass lectures and pulling up on the females there. And that's all he does. So the school is just something that he talks about, that people pressed him about for years. So he finally bought one, but he's not really about it. So he just sits on the school now. And so I knew he was just a game player, just a talker, and not an actor, not like an action man. So when I heard that he had kids out there and wasn't really doing nothing about it, I wasn't surprised. And so now when this situation with this young lady coming out, whether I don't know the dynamics, because you know how things could go with baby mamas and stuff like that. But when you're talking about the prince of pandering or panhandling, King Kong of corruption, all right, you would expect him to knock those walls down and try to mend something with our Black queen and our Black sister. But he didn't do that, So for him to do all of this barking, all of this downplaying and talking down on other Black men for not, living up to some code or standard,
right?
He doesn't do that himself. So if this doesn't expose the man as a fraud that he is, I don't know what would wake people up. But I think there's some people out there that love the cult of Umar Johnson, and they'll support him no matter what. So sad business overall. But for this young lady out here, I empathize with her. But I think she knows who he is as a character as well. But what are your thoughts, sir, on Umar Johnson out here getting called out by his alleged daughter of 22 years? What are your thoughts, man?
Wow. That's very sad to hear, man.
Yeah.
There's a guy by the name of Keith Raniere. I don't know if that name rings a bell for you. He ran a what's the right way to describe? It was a not self-directed, but it was like a self-development, self-improvement group called Next VM. Next VM but it was spelled out with the letters NXVM, but it was pronounced NextVM. And it was billed as this, he was billed as like this self-help guru. You pay to join his organization.
I've seen it.
You pay to join his organization, and you attend these seminars, these bonding sessions, these group sessions, and you discuss the metaphysical and the spiritual, and you do healing and all of this stuff, and it's all about helping you find your center so that you can become the best version of yourself and maximize on your capabilities. Lo and behold, within NextVM, there's a secret organization called DOS, which was a sex cult. And this guy, Keith Raniere, ran this sex cult within the self-help organization. The self-help organization was a front for what was really going on, which was the recruitment of women to be his sex slaves. And he would dispatch other women who were at one point or another were also his sex slaves to be themselves their own masters. And they would recruit other women. And he sat at the top of the pyramid as the only man in the situation. And all the other women beneath him served him sexually. And in the daytime, he was this self-help person who was like, oh, let's do this. And we're going to do trust falls. And we're going to do group bonding activities. And we're going to play games and do all sorts of other practical things that'll help you with becoming the best version of yourself. And eventually the law found out, and now he's in prison probably for the rest of his life. But that's kind of what this reminds me of, hearing your story. It's very unfortunate. Now, I'm not saying that that's what Umar's doing. I'm just saying that the way that you told that story, that's what it reminded me of, like a particular form of a grift in which you get to play upon people's desires to improve themselves. And you're dealing with a vulnerable population who will believe certain things if you're speaking the right language. And so long as you can speak that right language, you can get them to pay whatever you want them to pay. Or, in the event of women, take off however much clothes you want them to take off.
Bro.
So it's crazy, bro. For his sake, I hope that that's not what's going on. I'm not trying to speculate, but that's what that sounds like. And I will say this, though, when it comes to his rhetoric overall, this is what happens when you engage in hero worship. You know what I'm saying? You hit your wagon to a person who you think is speaking a particular gospel that you appreciate. When they start to do things in their personal lives that contradict that, you find yourself lost. Well, now where do I go and who do I believe in? And I think a lot of these lost souls end up on the cut room floor. You know what I'm saying? People who go wayward and don't know where they are, who they are, where they want to go, because they need a person to believe in. And I do think for a lot of people in our community who do believe in the tenets of Pan-Africanism, look to him as a hero in some respects. So in that regard, I think that this really does burst that bubble. You know what I'm saying? It really does. It takes the air.
You would think.
Yeah, it takes the steam out of that balloon a lot. But like I've said before, you also have a lot of bad faith actors who will latch on to particular aspects of a philosophy that they want to in order to affirm the way they want to live. So even though Umar Johnson's primary speech is based around the building of the nation and the Pan-African movement, if you are the neo-Omarion type and you embrace this whole free sex lifestyle and you want to be morally recused from having to answer to that, then Umar Johnson's polygamy talk is something that resonates with you.
Correct.
So it doesn't matter whether the Pan-Africanism stuff does or does not contradict with his personal way of living, because you believe in this polygamy, polyamory, free love stuff. So that gives you another instance in which to hit yourself to his wagon in that way. And so for those individuals, he ain't gonna go nowhere.
Exactly.
So that's the power of that kind of, holier than thou philosophical jargon that some of these grifters engage in on a regular basis.
Mhm.
Is whether you believe in the Pan-African stuff or whether you believe in the polygamy stuff. There's a reason for you to believe in him nonetheless. So even if it comes to light that he is a deadbeat, and I'm not saying that he is, as far as I'm concerned, these are allegations.
Yeah, you're right.
But if it came to light that that is the case, he's still going to have his legions of followers who appreciate him for all of that other stuff.
Yes.
And as far as those people are concerned, there are no contradictions. So, you know, I think that part of that belief in these individuals like this, you are walking a dangerous line, in my opinion. And I do think to a certain extent, there's dangerous rhetoric that you are choosing to believe in because you want to live a certain kind of way and you need someone to tell you it's okay to live like that. And so for those people, he represents that. He's essentially, Umar gives them permission, and they need the permission because they know it ain't all the way right. But despite feeling intrinsically that it ain't all the way right, so long as there's someone who is credible giving you permission to do it, it becomes okay.
Yeah. Hey, 100, man. And so, yeah, I labeled him a grifter a while ago. You know, just every time you see him, he's in, you know, a hotel. You know, he doesn't really have a home. He's either in a hotel or the school or a public area like a mall
or on the Breakfast Club.
On the Breakfast Club. And so here's the thing, right? So I'm like, well, how does he get on the Breakfast Club? This guy's, but the Breakfast Club invites him because he's a grifter. Same reason why they would bring Al Sharpton up there, because they follow the same handbook of not helping nobody. And so if there was somebody up there about real action, they don't get to the Breakfast Club. But annually, Umar Johnson is allowed to continue his grifting on our community.
He's there multiple times.
Multiple times.
He's on Breakfast Club 2 or 3 times a year.
And so my thing is with that is like, why? You know, who's calling this man up here? Why is he so cool with these people? You know, he's so anti-establishment, yet he's sitting on iHeartRadio talking about all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's the reason why I never trusted him. You know, and so for this situation to come up, I'm not surprised about it. Like I said, I'm not calling him a deadbeat. I don't know. You know, these are all allegations. I do know he got kids out there. I've never seen him before. So this is the first person that actually came out and said that, hey, he's my dad and he ain't doing nothing about it. You know, and so all I'm saying is I'm not surprised. And I've labeled him a grifter a long time ago. Just a couple weeks ago or last week or whatever, I made a Umar joke or whatever. The man says things that are on point, you know, but that's his grift.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, man. So, you know, to me, he's just an internet meme. You know, something will pop up. I'll get a good laugh. There's great compilations out there of him just saying the most off the wall, ridiculous things. And I crack up, you know, but I stopped taking him serious 13 years ago. So, yeah. So if this is a light bulb for some people out there, then I would ask you people to look at him a little bit more critically, and evaluate him a little bit more and see if he's moved at all, you know, from now into the next 3 years. And I'm telling you right now, he's going to be doing the same garbage, keep blaming the same things and not moving anywhere, but still collecting money in his Cash App and his PayPal. And you make sure he's going to remind you every live stream he does. So, hey, best of luck to Umar and, you know, little sister here, man. I'm hoping you find your sister. This is wild business, man. But hey, you know, I'm not surprised dealing with a clown like Umar.
Yeah, I feel that, bro. Crazy. Best of luck to her for real.
Yeah,
know.
man.
If you know, provided all of this is true and it's not just internet fodder, yeah, I hope she does get to figure out a way to meet her sister, because that's bad business, man. Broken up family is bad business. I don't care what anybody says, but
Man, we got to protect our black queens.
oh boy, it's crazy. That's a crazy story, bro. But the grift continues, I guess.
Hey man, grift on, players. Grift on.
Wow. Just wow. Oh, God.
Hell no.
Oh man. So yeah, we're gonna get right into this, man. The woman that you are seeing in that overlay there is a woman named Melissa Mercado. And the reason why she is trending is because she is a detective in the NYPD, but she also is somebody who appeared in a rap video as a stripper, busting it wide open in this rap video. And so, you know, people have an issue with it. Like they feel like it sends the wrong message because she's a cop, you know, she's a member of law enforcement, she's a detective, but here she is busting it wide open as a stripper in this rap video. Now, bro, did you watch the video? Have you seen the video?
I saw the parts I needed to see.
She looks like she looks like she's too good at that to just be.
Yeah, that was her first time doing that.
Yeah, to just be some random civilian who was in a music video.
Yeah,
like,
no.
Yeah, no, she looks like she has some experience
up there.
Yeah, there's some experience here going on. So this says you have the right to remain lusty. NYPD cop bashed for raunchy video. By day, Melissa Mercado conducts strip searches for the NYPD, but by night she transforms into a striptease if you let the boys in blue tell it. According to the New York Post, Mercado is facing backlash after a music video she appears in has gone viral. But Vibe, what's the issue, you the reader asks? Well, it turns out that the 7-year veteran on the force is seen in the video committing the most heinous crime ever, pole dancing. The cop appears alongside rapper Esquire in his visuals for a song called Doing That, gyrating, twerking, and touching her body while twirling on a pole in a club. Choir occasionally tosses money at the police officer, with other scenes finding the artist rapping about what he would love to do with the voluptuous multi-hyphenate. So those are lyrics from the song. I'm not going to read those. I'm also not going to play the video because this video will probably get flagged if I did. But the link to this article is in the description, so you can check out the video if you want. The NYPD told the outlet that they found the veteran cop's behavior alarming. One unnamed officer felt that the curvy woman's actions were disgusting, saying, "I have no words." Mercado, who allegedly makes $144,000 a year as a grade 3 detective on the Bronx Special Victims Unit, doesn't wear any police garb in the music video. However, that didn't stop her co-workers and peers from laying down the firm glare of judgment. There's a line of thinking that what you do off duty, you do off duty. Retired NYPD Special Victims Division Chief Michael Osgood said. But I think this conduct is unbecoming of a police officer. I find it wrong morally if you're a special victims detective. But some officers in the force asserted that whatever Mercado has going on outside of the precinct is her business. Some members of the police union opine that what she's doing really has nothing to do with her as an employee, as an NYC detective. And while this swath of the unit doesn't care, they caution Mercado to move accordingly if she is doing this side gig for cash. If she is performing for money, if she has a side gig, the job would want to know about that, another source said. The member would be obligated to file an off-duty employment application. I would say nothing she does in the video is the department's business. Regardless, it is an interesting story. Like, imagine how different the world would be if police officers had the same energy for, say, the NYPD killing hundreds of civilian complaints, accusing the Department of misconduct. Imagine blah blah blah. So that's the writer of this article going SJW, going woke. The writer of this article went straight woke here at certain points. Well, anyway, watch Esquire's doing that video starring Melissa Mercado above. No, let's not watch that.
Sure.
So what do you think? Do you think the backlash that she is getting for this is justified? Do you think she has the right to do this because what she does off duty is her business? Like, where do you end on that one?
You kind of want your detectives to be professional. If this was just a regular beat cop, it'd be like, But when you make detective, man, I think that's like something. At least from the TV shows when they say officer and it's like detective. It means a little bit more. They went through a little bit more stuff. 7-year veteran. You would expect more professionalism, I would say. But I'm pretty sure you can see that BBL in the uniform. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure everybody knows what's going on. And if she's just a regular plainclothes detective, all right, I'm pretty sure people can just see it like that too. So I think everybody knew what she was working with. Even in this picture with her academy picture here, she's got the lip fillers in, she's got the eyelashes popping. She's not playing around on a regular day, I would say. So honestly, I don't think too many people in the force themselves, even though they claiming that they were surprised. I'm pretty sure they were surprised to actually see all that booty clapping going on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think they were surprised that it was this young lady here. And they say 144,000 allegedly, but that's in New York, so you got to adjust for their inflation. So
right, and their taxes too.
Yeah, so that's probably like 70, 80K or something like that,
Yeah.
So still a decent chunk of change, but that's not enough in New York's economy. So she clearly has to have a side hustle. So this looks like she's got a second career. If the department wants to get a little funny with it, but I think you would rather have that NYPD pension. I think you'd rather have that going on than booty clapping BBL model and World Star videos. Everybody's got their own little thing going on, man. Everybody has their dreams apparently, and her dream was to always be a video vixen, whether she was in law or not. So where am I on this? Do I think she needs to be getting backlash? I don't know about backlash. To me, this is more humorous of where we're at right now.
Yeah.
That even police detectives are BBL'd up, collagen lipped up, Botoxed up, and clapping ass on World Star. That's where we're at in 2025. So to me, this is more signs of the times, irony, Boondocks, Chappelle Show skit type of thing than actual reality. So am I upset that she does this when she clocks out? No, I'm not upset about it. I just think it's hella weird, but this is the times that we're in. But what are your thoughts, sir, on the BBL cop out here, clapping it up on World Star of all places?
Yeah, this would have offended me 2 or 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. But now I'm just like, yeah, this is the way it works, man. Mm-hmm. I'm not, she's a special victims detective.
Oh, shit.
I've seen that show, Law and Order SVU. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
man.
Like imagine if Detective Benson is like imagine that. Like you find out that Detective Benson on Law and Order SVU is busting it wide open at the strip club.
Yeah,
I'd be a little weird. I'd be a little weirded out by that. She's running around apprehending all of these, violent sex offenders. Yet at night, she's, getting money thrown at her by people who are more likely than not sex offenders.
I mean, she was undercover, right? Is that what this was?
The irony of that, the irony of that. No, I'm not offended because this is the way the world is, as you said. I've said oftentimes, many times on this channel before, there is an aggressive mainstreaming and normalization of female hypersexualization. Not just here, but in the world at large. Unless we're talking about conservative societies, any sort of free society, there is an aggressive mainstreaming of hyper female sexualization. Now, that's not to say hyper female sexualization hasn't always existed, because it has. But the difference nowadays is it's being mainstreamed and normalized very aggressively. And so I brought up my nephew, and I'll bring him up again. My nephew's 15. He turned 16 this May. And, I said, man, my nephew, he's, I think he's Gen Alpha. I think that's his generation.
Oh, shoot.
I think, is he? I think he might be 14. He's either 14 or 15. Either way, though, I think he's like Gen Alpha, and because I think he was born in 2005. So I've always said, like, I'm fearful for him because due to my sensibilities, I don't know how I would be able to live in a world where I would have to essentially, anticipate that any girl that I might be dating or hanging out with or going out with at one point or another either is or was a sex worker or sex worker adjacent. Like my nephew, my nephew's living in a world where there's a very decent possibility that any little girl that he goes out with, hangs out with, or dates is busting it wide open on Instagram. Has over 100,000 followers because she's always leveraging her body and her looks on social media, and he's just going to have to take that. He's just going to have to accept it because he's a part of the generation in which the normalization of female hypersexualization is firmly entrenched. So in saying that, it is entirely possible that a lot of women today who work regular day jobs are also masquerading as sex workers.
Yeah, masquerading. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a normal thing. Like, it is what it is, you can't really be offended by it anymore because, hey, that's just the next hustle. Is these chicks being sex workers, and it's just normal, nothing to be shamed over because it just is that. Like, we used to look at it like, okay, if you're doing something on the side to pay a couple bills, maybe you strip here and there or whatever. But no, this is just a full on, hey, I do this and it's fun and I love it and I'm liberated for it. OnlyFans, stripping, doing actual sex work, it all goes hand in hand. And I think whereas before it was all kind of hush hush, don't ask, don't tell, I do the best job that I can to conceal that I am doing this by night, because the real true representation of myself is what I do by day. And I am merely doing this by night out of necessity. No, now it's I do this by night and it's a part of who I am as well. like this what I do, this my Instagram modeling, my sex work, my physical leveraging, my hypersexualization is just as much a part of my identity as what I do during the day. And the reason why that's okay is because our society, via the hypersexualization normalization, has dictated that it's okay. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you know what? More power to her. Go ahead and do this in your music videos while also being a cop. Why not? Because that's where we are. I'm pretty sure there's mad chicks who are doctors and attorneys who also have OnlyFans.
Or them nurses.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They got OnlyFans and they're doing this, and it is what it is. Not too long ago, I remember we did a topic where there was a woman who does OnlyFans, and she pulled up to the school of her toddler child. Because she takes her kid to and from school, and she had her OnlyFans advertised on her phone.
Yeah.
And the school had an issue with it. The school was like, "Hey, that's not appropriate. We have policies against this. So if you're going to insist on bringing your kid to and from school, you're going to have to drop them off across the street or make other arrangements, because this infringes on our guidelines when it comes to appropriateness, when it comes to conduct." And she was outraged because she felt like that was, impairing her.
Of course.
Right. And the only reason why you would feel like the school has no grounds to do that to you is if you are so desensitized to what you do that you
Right.
feel as though it's so normal and mundane that it's
Right.
not a big deal that I'm taking my toddler kid to school and advertising this.
Correct.
So she probably looks at the world through the same lenses. This is so non-consequential to me. And mind you, I don't even know, I don't know what else she does. This is all we've seen is this music video thing. But again,
Hey,
she seems so in her element. She seems so in her element in that video that I highly doubt this is the first time that she's done stuff like this. So she probably looks at the world through the same lens, which is this is so normal and typical for me that the idea that this would be inappropriate wouldn't even cross my mind. And that's where we are in the world, that this is no longer something like this. You're not really living a dual lifestyle. This is no longer a duality. Sex worker by night, 9 to 5er by day. That used to be a duality, almost like there's two different people. No, it's no longer a duality. It's like my part-time job. It's like I said, it's like looking at it like this is like when I used to be a cook at a restaurant, someone asked me, "Oh, you got a part-time job?" Yeah, I cook on the side as my second job. It's the same kind of dynamic at play, I feel. Oh, you're a nurse? Oh, okay, that's cool. You have any other kind of side gigs? You have a part-time job? Oh, yeah, I do sex work.
You're right.
And it's no big deal. So this desensitization to this is due to the hypersexualization of women nowadays. And like I said last week, it's taken on a new form because the women are dictating their hypersexualization. So no one's making her do this. She's doing it willingly because she lives in a world where her hypersexualization is so normalized that you don't even give it a second thought. The idea that it might be inappropriate juxtaposed to what she does during the day doesn't even cross her mind. So it is what it is. They ain't offended. I'm not offended, but trust me, I see it for what it is.
Amen. And I said on here before a couple times, man, I judge a book by its cover. And then, if I crack the book open and I see it's different, then so be it. But, living life, bro, I am going to judge books by its cover. So if there's dinosaurs on the cover, I'm gonna assume this book is about dinosaurs or anthropology. I'm not gonna think it's about the weather. But that's what these girls want me to think. When she's walking around here with her collagen lips, her Botox face, those eyelashes, and a BBL to boot. I'm pretty sure the boobs got done too. And when she's walking around like this during the day on her day job, I'm supposed to think she's just doing this to just be in a cop uniform. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, man, like you say, hey, I wouldn't be surprised if doctors, I know for sure, I done seen some BBL nurses before.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they be all on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? What's that word? Gallivanting. Yeah. And they all over the damn, they're not travel nurses, but they all over the damn world. And it's like, hey, man, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, these BBL nurses, they're probably doing their thing.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so, if you will, a woman that's walking around here with all of this augmentation on her face is no different than a young dude where you see a whole bunch of tattoos on his face. And he's walking down the street and he's got, you know what I'm saying? He work at McDonald's and, he got a cross in the middle of his forehead and tears on his cheek and all this other stuff going on. It's like, okay, yeah, now I know you work at Walmart. I know you work here at McDonald's, but you do other things at night for your side hustle. You know what I'm saying? But that's where we're getting at now, where it's like, hey, man, why do you have that BBL for real? What's the story behind that? Because, that's like, it's kind of like an indicator. I know women just get BBLs to stay at home, I guess. But I think that BBL it's a sign of it's a potential sign of a lifestyle that comes with it. So yeah, man, these ladies are showing, they're showing themselves. So not all women go get BBLs. And just like how you spoke on your nephew, bro, I understand that's your concern, but I'm gonna speak life to this young man, and he's gonna find a girl that you know what I'm saying, that she's just down to earth and regular.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I understand your concern, bro, because trust me, bro, I've dealt with adjacent before, and I ain't even know it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's the prevalence. That's what concerns me, is the prevalence of it. It's the increased statistical likelihood.
Hey, man,
that's what makes me uncomfortable.
It's crazy business, bro. Last little thing, bro, and just to speak on Walmart, bro, it was a dude that worked at Walmart, old man. You know what I'm saying? And there were girls in Walmart, bro. Just you know what I'm saying? I found out that he was helping them pay their rent. Yeah, and that qualifies as ex work, don't it?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So he was helping them girls pay their rent. So he was getting off, bro. And he'll shoot them $200 there, $300 there. And I'm like, what? And you know what I'm saying? He was a little crusty too, bro, but he was getting it in. And it was more than one. So I was like, hey man, it's a hell of a world we live in, bro. So y'all be safe out there, y'all. Oh man, y'all be safe, man. And shout out to Officer, what's her name?
Melissa Mercado.
Shout out to Officer Mercado. You know what I'm saying? Get that bag, I guess.
Yeah. Some tells me she was living a dream when she was in that video.
Yeah, man. Esquire, man. I listened to that song, bro. I was like, come on, bro. And then when you scroll World Star, when y'all go look for this video, y'all scroll World Star, you'll see, I don't know, 100,000, 10,000 for this. But you come across that video, it's like 2.3 million or 3. Everybody done ran across this foolishness, man.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. But that's where we are, man. This stuff is just like a job. That was another day at the office for her. And when a lot of these women are being sex worker adjacent, if not all out sex workers, it's just another day on the job.
Be safe, y'all. Yeah. Lord have mercy.
Shouts out to my nephew Nigel Umar Jr.
Yeah.
And last but not least, we are going to get into Issa Rae, Hollywood personality, writer, producer. I don't think she's directed anything. I'm not sure though. Who is, pumping up her chest to demand respect in Hollywood for Black entertainment, Black TV, Black arts. The article says Black television specifically, but I'm pretty sure she's talking about Black entertainment overall. So she's had some choice words about Hollywood's treatment of Black art throughout history, and how Black TV specifically is well overdue for more respect. So this says Issa Rae demands Hollywood pay more respect to Black TV. Issa Rae recently offered a keynote speech at South by Southwest for her upcoming HBO docuseries Seen and Heard, and made a strong plea to the Hollywood industry. She spoke on how networks and higher-ups historically used Black audiences and abandoned them as soon as it was convenient, although she recognized that some folks might see this as a conspiracy. Nevertheless, the insecure multi-hyphenate, what does that word mean, by the way?
Man, that's twice in one day.
Yeah, like I keep seeing that. I'm gonna look that up. The insecure multi-hyphenate spoke to other Black entertainment powerhouses like Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, Ava DuVernay, and more in order to highlight these injustices. Most importantly, she seeks to highlight these stories and show how Black television in particular faces an uphill battle. It's one thing to say it, Issa Rae remarked. You might have heard someone say that in the history of television and the history of particular networks, but to have the actual creators, showrunners, and writers chronicle the history of that is undeniable. We wanted to make a comprehensive history and showcase with evidence that this is how they built the success of their networks on our backs, and we almost don't have anything to show for it as a result. It's tragic, and history repeats itself. Elsewhere, she also spoke on DEI rollbacks from United States President Trump and the general pushback to diversity initiatives. I feel like the diversity initiative needs a better publicist. The anti-DEI, the immediate retraction of any efforts to level the playing field and focus on our stories, I think it comes from a big misunderstanding and a fear. In addition, she also spoke on how the entertainers she spoke to for Seen and Heard all have unique and amazing stories that deserve the spotlight and will inspire more Black creatives. Meanwhile, Issa Rae is finding a lot of success in her recent entertainment ventures, such as One of Them Days box office success. The SZA and Keke Palmer fronted film is just the latest step in Rae's dynamic and compelling career, and now she hopes to use her platform for more conscious and community-focused action. Hopefully, this will eventually lead to a big paradigm shift in the future. So there you go. More respect for Black television, and major studios and networks have used Black audiences for their benefit and then gotten rid of them as soon as they could. So do you agree with what she had to say there?
You know, I understand where she's coming from, but you know, I think that you know, I don't think it'll be heard. So I mean, of course, you would like to see more representation on television of real things that really represent us. But I don't think that's going to be happening. If it does happen, it'll happen at the same rate. The mindset that she mentioned of use it when it's convenient and then drop it. So I guess if something really happened and everybody's upset and the country's upset and it's like, oh no, we gotta diversify our channel.
Right.
Yeah, they'll do that. And then after season 2, when everything died down, they're just gonna just can the show. And yeah, man, it's like, so I think the key and the multi-hyphenate, it says a person, especially a celebrity with several professions or skills. So
okay.
Were they talking about the booty clapping cop? That was a hyphenate? Oh,
That's what the article said. Yeah.
He's not a hyphenate.
Yeah, I know, right? Based on that, based on that definition, I would not call that lady a multi-hyphenate.
Ah, man, I think this is a new thing. They're probably using AI to write these articles now. So yeah, man. But I think the approach that needs to happen when it comes to wanting to see certain levels of representation is the Cat Williams route. And we cover Cat Williams starting up his own little studio.
Correct.
For better or for worse, the Tyler Perry route. Just having your own studio and making your own content. But to ask Hollywood to care. Yeah, to care, to create a show, have a Black cast, have it be Black centric, have it not be offensive, just have it just be a regular show. I think that's asking a lot, because we've got a ton of Hispanics around here. I don't see any Hispanic shows just doing their thing. What's that show? I finally saw, my old lady, she watching what's these Indian people. What's it called? Deli Boys.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she's not watching it. It just be on.
Yeah.
But I'm like, hey man, Indian people got their own. And I know the Indian community, not trying to be any type of way about that, but I know they're going crazy. They pulling up in their Teslas. That's all they drive around here, bro. They all drive Teslas. And they all drive Teslas. It's incredible. But yeah, they probably pulling up in their Teslas to go watch Deli Boys. And so I'm pretty sure there's different demographics. There's plenty of different graphics in this country, but not everybody has their own thing going. I don't know, Black people have been here for a long time, and we represent all that good stuff, man. But I think if you really want to see that type of stuff, and she's being a beacon for that in Hollywood, where she is a person who's talented enough to to present something and have a show developed or whatever developed and presented, and she's part of that. We just need more people of her talent to be out here doing that if she wants to see it in the Hollywood front. But to ask these studios to give a damn, I don't think that's something that would actually happen. So, but what are your thoughts on what Issa Rae had to say about more diversity and and more representation for Black people in Hollywood, especially Black TV?
Yeah, you can't legislate desire. So you can it's the primary reason why I don't think DEI is effective, because essentially you are trying to create an institutional policy which dictates that by rule you have to abide by certain things in an effort to foster diversity. And people are going to do that, I believe, halfway, because if no one really cares about diversity, they're just going to do it for the sake of checking off boxes. At least that's how I see it, which is why I've always never been the biggest fan of like corporate DEI, actual institutional policies. Not to make this about DEI, but just to state my opinion that I don't believe you can legislate desire. You can't make people care. So I hear where she's coming from, and oddly enough, I do to a certain extent respect her, because the show that she had on HBO years ago, Insecure, I used to watch that show. And I don't believe that show, I don't believe that I was in the target. I don't believe that I was that show's target demographic. I believe that show really was made for Black women. So me being a man, I don't think that I was in the target demo for that show. But I watched it nevertheless because it depicted Black people who were just living life. So you know what I'm saying? Nobody was selling dope. Nobody was murdering anybody. Nobody was going to prison.
Ain't that crazy, bro?
Nobody was running. Nobody was running from the cops. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was scamming, money laundering, scheming. Like, it was just a show with Black people who were college educated, who were trying to navigate life and trying to figure out how to have successful friendships and successful relationships, successful marriages, how to be successful parents. That was what the show was about. So I watched it because I appreciated what it stood for. She was the primary creative force behind that show. She wrote a lot of the episodes. She was the creator. She was the main star of it. So because of what it symbolized to me, I used to watch it. If what she is suggesting is there needs to be more attention paid to Black programming like that, I'm 100% with her.
Of course.
But if what she is saying is blanketly more attention needs to be paid to all forms of Black entertainment, no matter what, because we just need more attention paid to us, I can't all the way rock with that. In my personal opinion, I can't all the way rock with that, because I personally don't need to see more powers and BMFs on TV.
That's what it's going to be.
That's what, you know what I'm saying? So I have my own personal issues with those kinds of shows, but I understand that there's a place for them. So I'm not going to sit up here and say there needs to be none of it. But what doesn't need to happen is that's the majority of Black programming. So if her saying that is in a roundabout way suggesting that we need more room for more stuff like that, then I would have to disagree, because I don't think we need more of that. You got two different powers. You got a BMF. There's a couple of other shows where it's Black people, going to prison, selling drugs and murdering and doing
family business.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying? I think that there's enough of that. I think that there's enough of that. And just like I am apprehensive when it comes to the music as I have aged and gotten older, because of the danger that I perceive to be inherent of the idea that that's synonymous with Black culture. I think the same thing goes on with movies and television as well.
Yeah.
Where if there's enough of that kind of programming representing the diaspora that is Black people, then you will have a large portion of our population believing that that is culture. And I think that there is one thing to suggest that that is an aspect of culture, and I think it's another thing to suggest that that is culture in totality. So in spirit, I get it, because I used to watch her show. I got respect for her. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can say she's made public comments that people go at, and she's done certain things that people go at. That's fine. But I believe that what she did with her show represented what I believe I would like to see in terms of having a more balanced representation of Black people in media.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, all we got is the lack of balance in representation when it comes to music, and a somewhat lack of balance when it comes to the representation in TV. Her show ain't on no more.
Mm-hmm.
It's done. So I don't, I'd have to go through the list to try to find
Right, ain't nothing.
the programming where the majority of the cast is Black. But I'm pretty sure when I find it, it's gonna be a lot of trauma TV.
That's exactly what it is.
It's gonna be trauma television.
Yeah.
And her show wasn't trauma television. So if we're gonna see less trauma vision and more just regular stuff, you know what I'm saying? Black people in space, Black people that are wizards.
Oh, man.
Yeah, like Black people doing time traveling, Black people, like Black people doing Game of Thrones stuff. Yeah, I'll take that all day. That's fine. But Black people where it's like acrimony, child support, baby mama, baby daddy stuff, family beef, drugs, guns, murder, prison, extortion. I don't think we need more of that. I don't think Hollywood needs to give that more respect, is what I'm saying.
I agree.
But if it's going to be more balanced, I'm all for that.
Yeah, man. And it's real sad, bro. I was trying to think off the top of my head, man, but I guess you can count on 1.5 hands of all the quote unquote classics in our community. I don't know any of them that doesn't have anything to do with crime or drug use or you know what I'm saying, something that's just trauma. I don't know how many feel good just movies that we have. You know what I'm saying, where it's just that was a good movie. It's unfortunate. And just thinking, man, like that was like my central point, is that if we want to see that stuff, somebody has to make it themselves. And with stuff like Tubi and all these other apps out there, whatever, you're just gonna have to make this yourself and do your own thing. But the people, they've been Stockholm into wanting to watch crime TV.
Yeah.
And much like in our last topic, bro, when you said that, nobody's telling these women to do this to themselves now. Now they're willingly going out there and sexualizing themselves. And now we're in a position where, these studios don't have to say, let's make a slave movie for you. Or, hey, man, let's go ahead and make a movie where you guys are selling dope to each other. Now they're just going out there and making their own hood classics where they're just selling drugs to each other. You know what I'm saying? And trauma-based entertainment.
Traumatainment, yeah.
Yeah, traumatainment. Yeah, that's a good call right there. Yeah, we should coin that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's too much of that, bro. It's to the point where, I'm trying to watch something and I'm like, oh wait, it's it's about crime. I can't watch it. My family, they was watching the Kevin Hart show on, I think it was on Peacock or something. I think it was Kevin Hart, Samuel L. Jackson, other people was in there. And it was based on, stuff going on in the 60s or something, the 70s. Yeah. And I saw the first episode, man. And it was captured well, costumes done nicely, people acting good. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this Black people all over the place doing their thing. All right, yeah, I can dig this. But it's about crime. So then once I figured out it was all about crime, I was like, I don't want to watch this. Y'all not going to hook me into this, with all these big names, but y'all playing the same tropes. Why why can't these people just be doing good at life? I guess that's not cool enough, or I guess that's not entertaining enough. So yeah, man, there's a lot of things that have to go by the wayside in order for us to have stuff that really authentically represent us. But yeah, man. But in the meantime, bro, there's traumatainment, and yeah, and that's pretty much we've been typecast as a people.
Oh yeah, that quote from 50 Cent is gonna live in infamy on this channel.
Bro, I'm gonna be forever.
Authentically representing authentically representing Black and Latino communities, raising Canaan.
Man, I know a lot of Latinos, man. They don't live like that.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's one thing to say it's maybe a part of it or an aspect of it or whatever, but to say that authentically represents those entire communities, such a wild thing to say. But it's like I said before, he believes that. You know what I'm saying? He believes that. Shouts out to, there's a show that comes on. It's called Abbott Elementary. I don't know if you heard of that.
Oh yeah, Abbott. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is another one of the same ilk as, to me, Insecure. Not because the shows themselves aren't covering the same subject matter, but in terms of what it represents. Like, it's a show where the vast majority of the cast is Black. You know what I'm saying? It's like majority Black, and then there's a couple of white people on the show, but the majority of the cast is Black, which is the inverse of what we typically see, which is the majority of the cast is white people, and then you have a couple of Black people peppered in there. But that show Abbott is majority Black people and a couple of white people, and it's just a funny show, and it's a show that's filmed the same way that they did Parks and Rec, or The Office or Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like there's no laugh track, and there's no studio audience. It's just a comedy where the laughs and the comedic elements in the show are entirely dependent on good writing and good acting. So I appreciate that show because, it represents exactly what it is that I'm talking about. So if Issa Rae is saying Black TV and Black programming needs more respect from Hollywood, and you're going to use that kind of show as an example, I'm rocking with you all the way 100%. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm not trying to say do away with all of the traumatainment, but right now I believe we're dealing with an imbalance.
Yeah,
it's just like with the music. It's just like with the music. The music is imbalanced because the music industry is purposefully mainstreaming ignorant rap. And there's non-ignorant rap that exists, but it doesn't get mainstream.
No.
So why not mainstream both? So it's the same. It's the same with TV. I feel like we're not dealing with a situation where something needs to go entirely. We're dealing with an imbalance.
Yeah.
And everything is the best version of itself when there's balance. So if that's what she's talking about, I'm with it all the way 100%. But if it's about giving us more powers, more BMFs, more family business, more what's another one? The Shy, you know what I'm saying? More The Wire. And like, look, shouts out to The Wire, great show, but it was consistent with what we're talking. It was
crime, man.
It was traumatainment. So we're already dealing with an imbalance when it comes to that stuff. So we need to dial some of that back and showcase all the other stuff and make more of the other stuff. And that I'm all here for. Everything else is whatever.
Yeah, 1,000. So, hey man, shout out to Issa Rae. I didn't watch the show, but back when it was out, all my homegirls, they watched it. They raved about it. They supported her. So from afar, I took her for a talented woman, and so I support her from that level. I don't get too much into her, but I've respected her from what peers say about her. So shout out to her and keep doing your thing out here.
Yeah. Nah, I legit watched it, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I used to watch it. It was appointment viewing for me because it was one of the only outlets that I had to see something like that in entertainment, where it just wasn't shenanigans. So I appreciated it. I did it. Yeah, that show was for Black women, I feel, but it was as close as I could get. It was
it's messed up, bro. That you know what I'm saying, that we gotta do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not to say that, we can't watch it, because living single for all intents and purposes was considered for women, but everybody watched Living Single.
Right. Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? But hey man, yeah, we need more stuff out there. So for all my black creatives out there, we need you.
Yeah.
And we don't need another Ghost. We don't need another Power. We don't need another Family Business.
Yeah.
We need a unique idea. Let's give us some Negroes from outer space, please.
Why not? Why
Let's
not?
do that.
Yeah. I think I don't know if it's still on or not, but there was a Star Trek show. It was one of the more recent Star Trek shows, and the main character was I forget her name off the top of my head. She's a black woman. She was also on The Walking Dead, and she was like the main protagonist on the Star Trek show. So I thought that was dope. Like, I've seen black people on Star Trek before, but never being the main character. And so she was the main character on that show. I thought that was pretty cool too. Also, shouts out to House of the Dragon. Anybody out there who's a Game of Thrones fan, House of the Dragon does have a lot of melanated people in the cast, which I also think is pretty cool, because you got a lot of melanated people in that show riding on dragons and doing fly shit like that. So shouts out. I also think that's pretty cool too. But I still think that there's a lack of balance that we need to work towards fixing, because the majority of this stuff is still traumatainment. So but yeah, shouts out to Issa Rae, man. I think she's a talented chick. She's a little quirky and weird, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. So yeah. But yeah, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go ahead and close things out. Another fantastic edition of the Conscious Approach channel on YouTube. Major shouts out to everybody who tuned in, and major shouts out in advance to everybody who's going to check us out when we upload these individual videos. Shouts out to N8C who chimed in on the chat. Much appreciation to you, big bro. And yeah, check us out: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music. Download us on podcasts whenever you can. Check us out. We certainly appreciate the support. And if you have not already done so, and this is your first time checking out any of our content, please do you boys a big old solid. Hit that like button. Leave a comment. Let us know where you think we went right or wrong. And subscribe to the channel so that you can get all of the notifications whenever we publish new content to the channel. We certainly appreciate the support as we continue to rock and roll and kick this logical content out. As I always like to say at the closing of every video, have a mind of your own. Think for yourself. Don't be a group thinker. Stay away from these BBL clad sex workers.
Lord.
And next year hopefully will be a better year for my Miami Heat, because we're losing to teams like the Charlotte Hornets.
Chicago?
Yeah, that's the other team I was trying to think of. We're losing to the Chicago Bulls and the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets, who have the third worst record in the entire NBA, and they beat us at home. So I don't know what we got going on, but we need to get it together. But yeah, that's the end of my spiel. Check us out, like us, follow us on Instagram, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.
Hey. And the name is Dogon SS, man. Skr. And you can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS, at YouTube, DraftKings, MySpace, Facebook, TikTok, all right, Snapchat. Hey man, if there's a social media platform, Dogon SS is out there. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow, and all that there. And as I say on every podcast, all right, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it player. And don't let anybody get you off your pivot. And like JV Wynn said, man, especially them BBL'd up models. All right, so make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe. For everybody that already done did, you know what I'm saying? We're eternally grateful, you know what I'm saying? And if you guys are just checking us out, man, for the first time, man, like, y'all see how we get out, bro. Like, y'all watch other people or listen to other people, and you know what I'm saying? They out here kicking what the Joneses say, you know, but we're out here actually thinking for ourselves, you know. And we don't always agree with each other, you know. We do have different minds. We will have differing opinions, but sometimes, man, the truth is so hard to deny that we're both on the same page on things. And honestly, it's the same page that you're on.
Yeah.
So make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe, man. And follow us along on this journey, man, as we crush all of these milestones out here. You know what I'm saying? Right now, we've already surpassed 1K. Now we're on our way to 1.5. So help us on out and hit that subscribe button, y'all, because we out here and we do this weekly. All right. So again, man, the name is Dogon SS. More rings than Robert Ory. We'll see y'all in the next episode. Skrr.
Yeah. Y'all stay safe, man. Until next time, we are signing off. Peace.
Peace. Man, go Canes, man. Out the blue. We so